From downtown, this is Tim Kitzer from NBA Jam, and you're listening to NintenDomain Podcast. Boom shakalaka!
This week in NintenDomain, we finally got that Nintendo Direct. It is out, and Metroid Prime 4 lives.
Has Nintendo flipped the stacking tea tables?
Welcome to NintenDomain Podcast, episode 427. Yeah, your place to hear Nintendo fans talk about new Nintendo Directs, as I predicted last week. Well, as Among Us predicted last week, but it was right. It was correct. It happened.
Yep.
It happened on Tuesday, the 18th, which I thought it was going to be on Wednesday. It's actually better that it happened on Tuesday and not Wednesday because I'm actually out of town on a thing. And yesterday I didn't really get to watch it in its full version until at about like 11:30 or whatever before I went to bed. But I did finally, because I watched it silent while I was working twice, the English version and the Japanese version. But I couldn't do subtitles because it was like live or whatever. But I wanted to watch it because I didn't want to see spoilers later. So I was like, but it ended up being a really, really good direct, I think. I really liked it from beginning to end. I thought it was real solid. I mean,
should we introduce ourselves?
Oh, yeah, we should. For anybody here who doesn't know who we are. I'm Trey. Is Alpha Dream alive now, Johnson?
I'm Jeremy. I'm sorry, Internet, but Shipping Brothers is wrong. Mikowski.
No, it's a ship, but it's a brothers ship. You understand, right? Like they're on.
I do. I actually looked it up.
They're on a journey.
It's a real word. It's a real word.
They're on a journey. They're on a.
It's a real word about.
They're on a
sailboat
of
brotherhood,
and it's not a spaceship. It's a sea ship. So yeah, Nintendo announced Tuesday morning that they're going to do a 40-minute plus direct, and I've been, like I said, I've been out of town. Most of the time, it's like grab a piece of paper and write a bingo out real quick, and there was no paper here. I couldn't find a piece of paper, so I made a bingo card on my phone, and it took forever to do. But
it does. I've done that before. I hated it.
Yeah, it's awful. I typed out all the different spots, and I was afraid that at some point I was going to accidentally go back and lose everything. But thankfully I didn't, because if I did, I probably would have given up and just said, fuck that. But I think I did the best out of all of our bingo cards. I mean, we can remind everybody about John's. John actually, just because the schedule's been hectic, he couldn't make it because I'm late to the podcast. But shit happens. But
schedules are weird when you have actual jobs too.
Schedules are weird when you work freelance with like me and you don't really have an actual schedule. So, but that's part of the fun, right? That's what keeps me entertained. It's my own stupid
hey, we're still going strong after 426 episodes. This is our 27.
I'm here for the love, for the Nintendo love and the friend love and all that.
And what better time of year than the June Nintendo Direct for Nintendo love? Like this is what Nintendo fans are fiending for all year. It's this like big, like what's going to happen? What's the holidays going to be?
And even though John's not here, he did leave like comments on the outline about different things, so I can still read like some of the stuff that he said about different things. But I think from what I could tell, it seemed like all of us were pretty positive about it. Even though I do have to say, John, I was right when I kind of shot down some of your bingo card stuff. When you're saying like all of these things that were already out were going to be in a sizzle reel, they weren't there. It didn't happen. So
no, there wasn't any sizzle reel really. Like there was already out.
There was actually like 3 sizzle reels on the Japanese version, but no sizzle reels on the American version. Yeah. Like they kind of did.
There was like, I think the closest thing they did was what they said. Like this is spooky and scary and I don't know, some sort of like
they did
thing.
Well, they did like they did the one where it's like here's some here's some cartoon things, and they showed a couple different cartoon things, but it wasn't like the regular sizzle reel where it's like, here's a second of this, here's a second of this, here's a second of that. But it did.
By the way, here's what you could be playing already.
Yeah, they did do that on the Japanese Direct a few times, like 2 or 3 times. They did like boom, boom, boom. Here's things that were on my bingo card that I expected to happen, but they were only on the Japanese Direct. And I went through the Japanese Direct with the fine-toothed comb because I had ease on my bingo card. And I was like, oh, I was so close to getting a bingo in two places. And I was like, there's got to be ease something in the Japanese one, but it was not. There were 2 games that were made by Falcom in there, but not ease. Well, probably because ease 10 actually came out last year in Japan. So why would they say anything about ease 10? It's already out. But yeah, I guess we could talk about some of the stuff that we had on our bingo cards before we saw it, as we normally do. So yeah, a lot of it. Actually, I was, once I found out that there was a Direct, I tried to stay. Well, also I was driving. I drove a long time to whatever remote location I'm at right now. But I also wanted to stay off. I was like, all right, I'm going to stay away from PRO. I don't want to see any spoilers. Like, he might say some shit. I don't want to see any of it. And I guess he just posted like some emojis or whatever that nobody could figure out is what I saw. But I wanted to come into it pure. Like, I'm like, I don't want anything to be spoiled on this. I want to just watch it whenever it happens. So I didn't. I stayed off the internet once I heard there was going to be a Direct and all that. So I tried to stay away from it. But my bingo card was actually, some of it was based on the 11 hours of podcasts that I listened to on this drive to this job. Because I looked at I have like 600 hours of podcasts on my phone because I'm an idiot. I just download things and I don't listen to all of it. It's my podcast.
Oh yeah, you gotta delete that stuff.
It's my podcast backlog. But I have a pretty big space on my phone. I have like one of those 200 plus gig phones, so I can record all that stuff and not have to worry about it or keep it. Anyway, I was looking back on old Retronauts episodes and I was like, you know what? I got a lot of Retronauts stuff that I haven't listened to that I've wanted to listen to. Let's just listen to these. So I did. I listened to like the Wii U episode and Donkey Kong Country and like all these other ones that I had downloaded for a long time that I'd never heard. And it was nice. It was good. It was a good drive. But that's why some of these came here. So here's stuff that I put on that didn't happen. I put Ease because I figured, Ease 10, it's coming out this year in English. We should talk about it. Nobody said anything about it. It'll probably be its own separate Falcom Direct or something like that. I don't know. The new Fantasy Life, I figured that was going to happen. Building relationships. I don't know if you heard about this game, but I hope this is coming to Switch in some form. It's a game where you play a house and you get to build and you get to date other houses, and you move around in this world and interact with other buildings. And it looks hilarious. It was on the Day of the Devs Direct. Look it up. It's called Building Relationships. And once I heard about it, I was like, I have to play this game. And it's got all sorts of.
It sounds like something I would dream about.
It's got all sorts of puns about houses and meeting another house and. Yeah, and you become a duplex or something whenever you hook up. I don't know. It sounds like a really funny, quirky indie game that I would really like to play in some form. So, yeah, that one was awesome.
Depending on if you're bottom or top, that depends where you are in the townhouse.
Yeah, if you're the upstairs to the downstairs, or
that sounds cool,
or the regular ground part. But yeah, I was like, yeah,
I love the concept of buildings themselves having personalities. Yeah, that's cool.
It kind of reminded me of that weird box game. Do you remember that weird box game that was on Switch that I never bought but always kind of wanted to, where you play a box?
Box Boy?
No. It's not Box Boy. It's a 3D platformer, actually, and Janet even mentioned it like way back when. But apparently it was pretty good, even though it kind of looked like a janky-ass game. But there was like a big following behind it. What was it called? But you played a box. You played like just a polygonal box, and you were in a 3D world, and you jumped around as a box. And I thought it looked kind of interesting, and apparently it was pretty good. Like, it got some decent reviews, even though it looked like really low budget and all that. But it kind of reminds me of that game because, yeah, you're this polygonal like house that moves around, it kind of rolls around like a ball, but you're not a ball. So, kind of like, it has that funny the way you move, but you can actually try to date other houses and all that, which I think that's hilarious. Like, who doesn't want to play as a house? Why not, right?
I want to be a house.
So.
One of my favorite shows is House. It's all about a sentient doctor that is a house.
Yeah, exactly. I remember that show.
The doctor himself is sentient, not the house.
I wouldn't call it my favorite, but I did watch it when I had nothing else to do.
No, it's not my favorite.
It's definitely not my favorite show.
I actually have only watched like half of a season of that.
I used to watch it a lot when I was broke and didn't have anything to do but watch antenna TV back when you could do that before the HD antennas. I watched a lot of House.
At a certain point, I got overwhelmed with like people using hard drugs in TV shows that were also professionals in some way. Like that just became really prevalent in all the media for a while.
I like that opening theme song. But let's see, what else do I have on my list? Spotlight, or Fear of the Spotlight. That was Alex Arona talked about that last week, so I put that one on there. Kind of this right side of my bingo card, which you can't see because this is an audio podcast, is mostly stuff from Summer Game Fest and Day of the Devs that I thought would be mentioned. UFO 50 is a game that I've heard about a bunch of times. This one sounds really cool. It's basically a collection of 50 games that are like, so it's made up. It's supposed to be like these games that were created in the 80s and 90s that were incredibly prolific or whatever, but they don't actually exist. So it's like this collection of games that don't exist, but it's like these were ones that were way ahead of the time that were made back in the 80s and 90s, and it actually looks really cool. Apparently they've been working on it for like 10 years or something like that. I think I posted the trailer on our Slack, but that game looked really cool. It seemed like something that could easily be brought to Switch because everything is like, 8-bit, 16-bit games, but they look really cool.
So their like original designs could have been like retro by now.
Yeah, their original games, if they're supposed to look like the idea is that they're older games that were ahead of the curve but were never released or something like that. So there's like a collection of 50 of them, and you can play through them. And
I mean, I love that meta. I love that meta thing. That's one of my favorite indie like tropes or whatever you want to call them, like where it's like things outside of the world matter to or whatever. You're in a universe. You're not just playing games. You're actually like they all make sense in some sort of context.
For sure. And I guess they have been working on it for a long amount of time. Like I thought it was like 7 or 8 years or something like that. And it finally got a release, but only for Steam. And I was like, well, maybe they're waiting to do a Switch version. A lot of people compared it to the Game Center CX DS game that came out, where you had a whole bunch of like retro style games, but they weren't actually real. They made them new ones or whatever. I know a lot of people really like that game. And there was a new one that came out as well that wasn't translated. And I know the people from 8.4 actually offered to do it, or they said it on Twitter and somebody posted that as news or whatever. But they're like, we'll do it. We do translations all the time. I put a Ranger on there just because we talked about that with Alex. I put Sonic Generations. Like I thought that was a for sure one. I figured we'd see Sonic because it's right around the corner. Sonic Generations X Shadow. There was a lot of stuff of that from the E0 stuff. I thought it would happen. I put Kirby on there. I figured we were destined for a Kirby game, right? Like when was the last time we had one? Well, the last one we had was a remake. I thought maybe we'd get a Forgotten Land 2 or something like that. Since we had
also just because Kirby is known as the like the death knell of a console generation,
and that's what Pear would say from IGN, like bring on the Kirbys. But Kirby has been here since the beginning of the Switch, so they have not. They've definitely
Kirby's the alpha and the omega.
They've
that's
definitely
why.
leaned into Kirby because we had Star Allies in the first year there. Like we've had a lot of Kirby, even though I didn't like Star Allies very much, but we did. We've had a whole lot of Kirby on there. But I was like, maybe we'll get another one. I put Doom on there just because there was the Doom, the Dark Age one. Like, I thought we might have a version of that. Like, just because I've been putting all the Doom games on Switch. This one I fucked up because I did see a leak about this. And I put Phoenix Wright instead of Ace Attorney or whatever. It's an Ace Attorney game, not Phoenix Wright. It's the other guy. It's the other fucking dude. It's the other person.
Oh, Miles something or other.
Miles Morales. No, I don't remember what his name was. No, he was the guy with the gray hair, like the one who's the bad guy. You play as him, and this one's coming to Switch.
No, I know you're talking about because I was because I've been playing it on the PS5, the Ace Attorney collection, and that's that's the not the defense attorney, whatever the other one is, the prosecuting attorney. Is the one who always gets a win.
Edgeworth.
So,
Miles
Edgeworth.
Miles Edgeworth.
Miles
there
Edgeworth.
I knew it was something with an E, but yeah, you got the first name. Yeah, Miles Edgeworth. So anyway, I didn't give that one to myself because I wrote it down wrong. I put Phoenix Wright instead of Ace Attorney. Whatever. It wouldn't have got me a bingo
counts.
anyway.
I say
it doesn't
counts.
matter. It doesn't.
I say it counts.
Sure. You give me another one there. It wouldn't have got me a bingo. What else? Lollipop Chainsaw, because we saw some news about that, which I thought it was funny because they're doing a remake of Lollipop Chainsaw, which actually is coming out a few days before your wedding, And funny story, I actually bought Lollipop Chainsaw for another friend of mine, Rich, when he got married, because that was my joke. So I didn't know what to buy for him and Adri, and I always thought they were kind of a weird couple. So I bought them things about weird couples. You know, Lollipop Chainsaw is a cheerleader that has a severed head. It's like her, you know, boyfriend or whatever. I bought them the first volume of Saga, like they're an interesting couple or whatever. So that was the theme.
Saga's definitely
That was the theme I was going from, and it was in color too. You know, I bought them the trade paperback, but you know, but yeah, no, I got them Lollipop Chainsaw and Saga for their wedding, which was at a courthouse, and we had the reception at the Beechwood. It was fun, but yeah, I put that on there. Interesting thing about the Lollipop Chainsaw release, not from the direct, but aside from that, they're actually, I guess the new version of it is going to be censored. Like they're actually taking away all the blood and stuff, but you can still play the original version with all the gore and all that. I think that's maybe a Japanese thing, because I know like some Japanese games are more edited that come out in Japan because they're not as like acceptant of the gore and all that. Like from what I heard, if you played like any of the new Resident Evils as the Japanese version, you will miss a lot of the game because of the gore and all that, which is weird because it is a Japanese game.
They got the mature 64 app like way before we did.
Yeah, we got that too, which that's so annoying, but whatever, it's on there now. I wasn't really happy about that because I'm like, all right, well, now I got another app that has 2 games on it, but I played both of them already and they're great, so whatever. But yeah, but Lollipop Chainsaw, they're like replacing the blood with bubbles and sparkles and shit like that. And I was like, that's got to be a Japanese thing. Let's see, Xenoblade Chronicles X. Just why not? I put it on there. I was trying to find ways to fill spaces here, so I put that one on there. But that's all the ones that I have that did not happen in the direct. So I thought I did pretty good for my card. And a lot of like I said, a lot of ones that I had on there were inspired by podcasts that I listened to during the drive. So you know. So there's a couple ones on there where I'm like, oh yeah, what about this one? Actually, I think only one of them in there was inspired by that. But yeah, do you want to read some of yours? You see, you have it.
Yeah. So mine. So I just read the ones that didn't hit, right?
Yeah, the ones that didn't happen.
Okay, well, I'll just kind of fly through them. And the first one is Waluigi, because I returned to Twitter just to say, because there was sort of a.
I knew you would come back.
There was a meme that was happening like last night that was like, if this happens during the Nintendo Direct, I will do this. You know, like for whatever reason, like people were just like. That was adding to the hype of the Nintendo Direct to make like a weird thing out of it. So I said, if there's like a Waluigi game where Waluigi's the main character, I will write a ska song about it, which didn't happen.
You should still do that anyway. You should still write a ska song about
Waluigi is
Ska Luigi
there. And I said Mario Wonder DLC only because I was thinking big last night when I made this list. So I should mention, after we were talking earlier, I think it might be in the recording, when Trey was like, they had to make their whole bingo card like on their phone, which is terrible. I actually last night did the most easy thing ever. I just printed out a bingo sheet.
That's what I normally do.
I own a printer now. Well, I own a printer. I haven't had one for very long.
Oh, yeah. I'm at an Airbnb. Normally, there's at least like a desk and like a printer or whatever, but there ain't shit here. This place is, I mean, if most Airbnbs are designed really weird that I've stayed at, but yeah, there's like 2 rooms and like 2 living rooms like above each other, and yeah, no desk, no printer, so it's weird. And I couldn't find any paper either, so I'm like, all right, I guess I'm making it on my phone.
So I think it's important I mentioned I also wrote Xeno X just because I'm thinking like you about like what's left in the what's left
the Wii U
to port
stuff
over.
We didn't get.
Right. So I put that, and then of course I put both of the Zelda remakes we thought we would get as separate things, because I thought for sure they were going to announce Twilight Princess Wind Waker as like one like collection, or like they were going to announce them at the same time.
You know what?
I was wrong.
I'm really happy that they didn't. Like I'm happy. That,
same high.
I'm happy that they did. Same high. What'd you say? Or same?
I said same am I, but okay. I meant so am I.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I'm sure. Twilight Princess and Wind Waker are great games, but I'd always rather see new things than re-releases. So I like what we got instead. I
agree. I just was hoping for bingo marks. You know.
Sure.
I was I was definitely like, I put some time into this. I bet I spent 10 or 15 minutes on this list last night, right before I went to bed. I was exhausted. And I was like, no, I got to make this list out because I have to work during the direct, which I guess I didn't explain yet either. But
Yeah, me too. I mean, I worked.
I had to work. Yeah, I was working during the direct, so I had an earbud in my ear so I could just hear the audio of it. And I usually don't do that at work because technically I'm not supposed to, because it's like a safety thing working in a kitchen to have like any sort of your hearing impeded. But I just had one little earbud in, and we were relatively slow, so I would occasionally walk over. I had my phone propped up on the paper towel dispenser near the sink, which is where you can store stuff legally, according to the health department. That's not like kitchen stuff. So I keep my phone over there. I walk over and I occasionally look at the screen, but I missed a lot of the visuals and had to watch it again afterwards. So yeah, not that big of a deal, but I at least like knew about all the big things. Like I already knew what was going to be the shit people were talking about.
Oh,
just based on hearing it.
Oh yeah. Oh, it would be interesting to see that version of it to to only like to only hear it and not see it. I was the other way around. I only watched it and didn't hear it. But I'd be curious to like. I guess you would probably recognize some themes or whatever. And
well, there was definitely one announcement where the audio, because I was definitely like making food and I hear like the audio for this announcement, which we'll get to eventually. But I'm like, I recognize this music. What's happening? And I was very, I don't know. I think I might have had a really good experience because of not knowing what the hell was going on. It was like an extra level of reveal to me. But let me just mention a few others that were just kind of like long stretches. I was like, maybe they'll talk about Dragon Quest 12. Maybe
you're going way in the future.
There's no way they're going to announce it at Switch thingy, but I still put it on there. I threw Ring Fit on there because I always do. I said Splatoon news. That was one where I was like, come on, there's got to be something happening in Splatoon they're going to talk about.
Yeah, they haven't mentioned anything since Side Order. Well, I mean, there's there's Splatfest, but they haven't had that in a direct in a while, I don't think.
But some other things I added that are standard for me, I added Zelda Maker because I really wish they would do that. And I added Hi-Fi Rush, even though I know that's not going to happen. I was still like, what if they somehow ported it, even though they fired everyone that made that game?
Yeah, what if Nintendo bought the company and then they put it on there?
Yeah,
that'd be something.
And then lastly, I was still holding out hope for the Star Fox Zero remake.
Oh yeah, I mean, it would be nice. But, some sort of Star Fox.
And also Chrono Trigger. I was like, maybe they'll finally give us Chrono Trigger. So yeah, that was another one. But yeah, for the most part, like I didn't do too well because I did like I usually do, where I start out with like rational predictions and then I get really wild with it because Nintendo likes to surprise us. So I'm like, what if I guess the surprise?
Why bring you Chrono Trigger when they can bring you another remaster for the second time? But this one's in 3D this time. Why do Chrono Trigger when you get Romancing Saga 2 again?
I still can't believe we got Chrono Cross before Chrono Trigger. It's just so wild.
Well, probably because they
came before Chrono Trigger.
I'm thinking it's because they want to do something bigger with it, and they can just throw out Chrono Cross as is, and they want to do a bigger Chrono Trigger remake that's like Final Fantasy Rebirth, and it has no turn-based battles in it, and it's all stupid, and you have to there's some guy named Chadley that tells you what to do or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, in 2017 when the Switch first launched, if you would have asked me what'll come out first, Chrono Trigger or Chrono Cross, I probably would have said Chrono Cross just to be a troll, but still.
But you'd be correct. That's what you would be.
I would be correct.
Yeah. So we'll read some of John's stuff just because he's in here. Chibi Robo, that was not a surprise. Shenmue, Plucky Squire. I was surprised there wasn't Plucky Squire on the Japanese one because I've seen people talk about it. I guess it was under embargo or something. I guess a lot of people played it at Summer Game Fest, and they're talking about it now. Kid Icarus Uprising, that would be great. Classic Zelda HD, Ease. John did that before I did, but I was like, I expected that would happen. John put Hollow Knight Silk Song. This was a fun one. I'll say it just because mine was no Hollow Knight Silk Song, and that was one that I got a bingo for because that game is never happening, and also I don't.
Did you get a bingo or just get a mark?
No, I got a mark. I got a bingo mark. Yeah, but I put no Hollow Knight Silk Song because it ain't happening. Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble, which that's the one that would give me a bingo, but that one was only in the Japanese Direct. But it was there. It still happened. The Gecko Gods, I don't know what that is. Elite Beat Agents and or Rhythm Heaven, that would be great. Monster Hunter Stories, already out, but could have been a sizzle reel, but there were no sizzle reels. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, already out, no sizzle reels. SMT5, Vengeance, Rocket Knight Adventures, Pac-Man Mega Tunnel, Shantae Advance, Risky Revolution, Goat Simulator 2, 3, Captain N Homage Game, Star Wars Hunters, Fallout, Star Fox. So yeah, a lot of these were already out. I'm surprised Fallout isn't on Switch. It could easily be. I mean, they could put 3 and 4 on there pretty easy, I'm sure.
If nothing else, why haven't I put
Vegas
the like,
or whatever?
Well, that mobile game, like,
oh, don't they have
like a mobile?
I think
game.
there's one mobile game on there, right? There is a Fallout of some sort.
It's like called Tunnels or something.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It's not like I don't know anything, but there is a Fallout game on there. If you look up Fallout, you'll see it. So those are the ones we predicted. But let's just get into the actual Direct right now. Yeah, I thought it started off with a banger, and I couldn't believe it. I was so happy to see that the Mario and Luigi series is not dead. And I've read some articles about it since the announcement of it, and I'm like, well, does that mean Alpha Dream exists in some way? And I forget somebody did like a breakdown of like where all the main developers are that did all the Mario and Luigi games, and they do still kind of work for Nintendo more or less. So they are still around, and they could easily have been in this. And I kind of, I mean, I've been a defender of Mario and Luigi many times on here, and I think if you, out of all of the series of Mario RPG, Mario, Paper Mario, and Mario and Luigi is my favorite because those have the most ones that I like in there. Super Mario RPG only has one game, but compared to Paper Mario, there's only 2 Paper Marios that I like. Mario and Luigi, more or less, I like all of them. The only one I thought that Partners in Time was kind of weak, but I enjoyed all the other ones that I played because there's still
what was
RPGs.
Was it Paper Jam or the one
that
was like...
Yeah, Paper Jam was the last new one that they did. But that
I never played that.
But that was just a crossover with Paper Mario. So it wasn't like... It still had the same mechanics.
It was like Mario and Luigi meets Paper Mario.
Yeah, it was Mario and Luigi meets Paper Mario, but also Paper Bowser and Paper Peach are in there, of course. And there's some pretty funny, like, we're 2 Bowsers and we're going to take over, and we're 2 Peaches and we're hanging out and talking about hair and clothes
making
or whatever.
Together.
There's some funny stuff in it, and they had all these like these 3D battles where you would build these like giant cardboard these cardboard vehicles you would drive around in, and you would kind of attack each other like battle style. That was fun. But yeah, they had good stuff to it. I never beat it all the way, but I did play a lot of it. And I enjoyed it. That was the last new one that they did, and of course, we knew that they had gone bankrupt because of their last release was the remake of Bowser's Inside Story, which came out after the Switch had already launched, and nobody cared about 3DS anymore, and so nobody bought that game.
And it was like, let's not forget you could play the original.
You could also play it on 3DS, yeah, if you had the original. I mean, they added the Bowser's Minions stuff, but it did seem kind of like, yeah, nobody was there for it. And, who knows how much they were there for the Superstar Saga remake that they did as well, so it's like... I
think that doesn't matter so much for home consoles, but it does matter for, like, handheld exclusives, which we'll maybe never see again. That may not ever be a thing again. At least not on, like, a major level.
But I'm happy to see the Mario and Luigi games back. I would argue that those are... those were the ones that stayed RPG, and they have some really, really... there's some really challenging stuff with the dodging and all that. That's what I always liked about it, because in that game, it's not just hitting a button to block. Like, you actually have to like jump out of the way and actually do full dodges and stuff like that. So I thought it had more layers to it than the other 2. And I've also seen people post, of course, they kind of lined this up. You're right. So we got the remake of Super Mario RPG, we got the remake of Thousand Year Door, and then we got the new Mario and Luigi game. It's like they were. They were building it up for us. They knew this was coming. It's like, all right, you want RPG? You want Thousand Year Door? Here you go. Here's 2. Now we're going to do a new one, and hopefully we'll get sales for it.
Definitely, as far as mainline Nintendo stuff goes, it was the most surprising thing. Like, just straight up as its existence, I should say. It was the most surprising to me because we considered Alpha Dream to be dead and buried, and something about like the the style, like it's cell shaded, obviously, and they opened with the cell shaded. We saw a lot of cell shaded stuff.
Yeah, I thought it looked good though. I really like the
No,
the
I
HD,
enjoyed
the
it, and
animated style.
I was like, something about this. Obviously, it's stylized, to make it more cartoony, and maybe this is Luigi's own adventure game that's not a Luigi's Mansion. So that's what I thought at first. But once I realized it was a Mario and Luigi game, and it was an original, I was really excited because I was like, yes, these like these somewhat reduced like obviously cell shading can't be like easy on a processor necessarily, but you could use lower poly models and then put higher quality textures on them. I was like, hell yes, because this will definitely run on the Switch. So I know this is a Switch game.
Well, I mean,
And
it's still the top down presentation of the other Mario and Luigi games. Like we're not really getting like a fully 3D game here. It's just
I mean, I think it's fully
like,
3D. It's just
no, I mean the characters.
perspective is
what I mean
locked.
is yeah, like fully 3D is in like you move the camera around like that sort of thing. Yeah, sure, we have polygons, but I mean it's still a top down thing, so you don't have to not as much rendering or whatever. But the
enemies look great. I think the combat system looks even better. Like the bro moves, like some of the extra bro moves they showed looked really cool.
Oh yeah, like the hammer,
and
like they do the hammer move,
and
you
there's
get
like
spin,
some like
the spin float thing over the.
It's like kind of like a frisbee move, yeah.
I mean, like I said, I love these games, but I like
I'm all over this game. This game will be a day one buy for me.
November's going to be a busy month because there's two big.
I mean, I'll be married. So.
Well, yeah, you will be married. But there's two big RPGs coming out in that month, like 1 week after the other. There's this one and there's another one we'll talk about later. But one thing I think is really cool about this game is so the Mario and Luigi games. Like I said, I will defend these games forever. I think they're great. But you could also say at the same time, you could say that they kind of like got a little too gimmicky in a way. You got like Dream Team that was all about Luigi's dreams, and you got Paper Jam with Paper Mario, and you got Bowser's Inside Story. I like that they kind of, there's no like side character. They're going back to just the roots. Like it's like, let's just do it just Mario and Luigi again. It's called the Brothership. It just has the two.
Yeah.
It's like we're going back to like Superstar Saga type stuff. Let's bring it back to the basics. Let's make it really good. And and I thought that was like the best move to do with that series. Like let's bring it back to what made it great from the very beginning, and hopefully people will be on board for it. I think there's a lot of,
and I agree, because if you look up Brothership online, the actual technical definition of it, and I'm going to be paraphrasing here, but I did look it up to see if it was a real word. Yeah, and it's just literally like it's forming an alliance through brotherhood. It's one of the best ways that people can love each other is finding commonalities and then like fighting for common causes. And that's what brothership means. So even though I said at the top of the show, shipping brothers is wrong, I guess I didn't know it at the time.
And there is also a ship that they are on. It's a water ship. Like when I saw brothership, I was thinking mothership, like spaceship, but they're on like a moving island or something like that. It's like what it looks like. So they are,
I'm sure the mothership
traveling.
Brothership thing is intentional.
Yeah, I mean, but it looks like they are traveling like on a boat, on like an island boat or whatever. Which cool, I'm into it. But I like I said, I like that it goes back to the basics. Let's just have it just.
I don't know. It's called Brothership. Maybe Mario and Luigi are gonna get super deep with each other, and we're gonna like learn more about Luigi's dreams from Star Road and Mario RPG.
Well, we did. I mean, I'd say we did learn about Luigi's dreams and Luigi Dream Team, or Mario and Luigi Dream Team.
That's true.
There was a lot of dreaming in that game. Luigi's got some weird dreams. I mean, he's got a lot of cool powers in his dreams. But, I mean, don't we all? But yeah, I was really excited to see that series come back. Obviously, And November 7th, I saw some people on, was it Laser Time maybe, where they're like, hey, if this election goes real bad, at least we got a couple good games to play, right? Because November's, that time, voting time.
Oh, we literally be like, right after.
At least we got a couple bangers to play back to back for Switch. The next one.
At least I'll have a wife.
Yeah, you'll be married and all that. The next one, I think we all kind of. Did you have this on your list? I know John and I did. The Nintendo World Championships NES Edition.
I did not.
Of course, still.
I did not.
They're gonna. John and I had that on there. I figured they would mention it. I know John's already pre-ordered it physically, as he put in the notes here. So, yeah, there's that game. I I don't know.
I'm really interested
It's
in
coming
it.
out next week. Did you feel like they said anything new that we hadn't seen before? It felt like it was still kind of the same stuff.
Well, I knew there were like challenges, but one challenge that stood out to me was like they literally put a time attack in Mario 1 where you use warp pipes. So you're allowed to use warp pipes and do a speed run, and that's like a whole like competition. And I think that's fucking cool. Like, because that's one of my favorite games. Like, that's the first game I ever really like cracked out over or whatever. So to me, like seeing like on this, I could compete with people online to see who can like finish Mario 1 the fastest. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to do it, but I love the idea of just
But
like
you wanna
going back to
try.
that. I used to do it in college all the time. I'd have friends watch me like play through it like as quick as I could. And like we'd take turns, but you know, we were bored. We didn't have internet back then.
I'm wondering. I mean,
Actually we did, but
yeah, I'm wondering how much enjoyment I'm going to get out of it. Is kind of how I feel. It's like I'm not really that excited about it, and I am kind of a little tired of NES nostalgia. But I mean, whatever. I'll get it. I feel like I've played all this in a better way with NES Remix. It's like
it really feels like yeah. I think I may have heard this in a podcast. Maybe it's not an original thought, but it's like they ran out of ways to repackage their old software, so like they're going to try this. But I think this is cool. Like it harkens back to 1990. I wish they would have actually just gave us, maybe it's still a surprise that's going to happen, but like on the eShop or something, just give us the actual NES cartridge that was part of the 1990 NES Championships, because we've played like a replica of it at conventions before.
I mean, you'll have a lot less games, right? Because that one only had like 3 games on
It's
it.
just like Radical Racer and
Rad Racer, Tetris, and Mario,
and
right?
Tetris.
It's like all that's on there. And this one has like 20 some games. I mean, it basically has all the same games that are in.
But I still would
Remix.
like that to be included, like maybe it will be, but let's just put the original cart in there to actually like bring it full circle to what it's supposed to evoke, the Nintendo World Championships, which started in 1990. They're legendary. We've met some of those people.
Rich,
we met Richard.
Rich. I will quote like that one. I do remember on one of the NVCs, Logan saying that he could go the rest of his life without playing another NES game and he'd be fine. It's what he said when he saw the announcement for this. And I thought,
he's the same guy that said
funny.
that the game you love is bad. So
no. I mean, hey, I can agree with some things, and I don't feel like I need to go my entire life without playing another NES game. I mean, they got those Dragon Quest games on there, but I mean,
I will play like games like Rampart and Joust, and like there's a lot of games on the NES that I will still play. Whatever, Punch Out, like some of those games are just obviously Mario 1. They're just perfectly made games.
Yeah, I do think that maybe some. I mean, I did think that maybe some people are tired of NES, and he definitely was. So I think younger kids maybe don't care as much about it. But hopefully there's more. Hopefully there's more to it. I mean, as of right now, I'm not really that excited about it. I'm kind of like, yeah, sure, I'll get it, but I don't really know what is the reason that I'm getting it. Like, what is the thing that's like, oh, I can't wait to do this when I get it. Like, what is the appeal for me to play it? I'm not going to beat any of these times. I don't like doing timed attacks or whatever. I'm curious as to how much enjoyment I'll get out of it. And I said that before when it was announced, but whatever.
I think I'm the same place. I don't know. I'm holding out hope that it's going to be like a really, awesome collection, and it's going to be like NES Remix 3 or whatever.
I mean, there's some games I like in there. They got Kirby's Adventure and Metroid. I love those, and I love Super Mario Brothers. But I mean, is there anything else that it's going to do with it that I can't already do just from playing it on Nintendo Switch Online?
Yeah, they showed a lot of stuff from the first Zelda too, which I'm excited to like do those challenges. So like, there's just a few of those games on there where I'm like, I'm pretty good at these games. I want to play these challenges, and I think that's what what grabbed my attention rather, like Tetris and that, and like or Tetris and Mario and Zelda, and then afterwards, like it would just be so fun to like get better at old games from playing this.
Sure. I just hope that there's more to do.
If it's that good.
I hope there's more to do than just like, get to the get to the flagpole first or whatever. I don't know. I don't know how much fun that's going to be for it. It would be cool. And I don't think they fully announced it if you could do like a full, speed run of Super Mario Brothers 1 and see how far you could get or whatever. That would be cool, or you could do that online with other people. But it looks like it's only just small sections that are only like a couple seconds. So it's like, how much fun am I?
Well, as of today, we found out Mario 1 was fully present in the game. So maybe more games are like that.
I mean, it's in there, but the entire game is in there?
How cool would it be if you could like play against someone just to beat the first Zelda as fast as you could?
Is the entire
Mario Brothers game? I know that's not everybody's dream, but yeah.
Oh, I must have missed that part. Did they say the whole entire game?
Well, they said using pipes, so maybe you have to maybe all the levels aren't in there and only the warp pipe levels are.
No, they should. I mean, about that. Didn't they put the whole damn game in there in WarioWare Twisted, where you could it takes hold it and you can go through the game
I say the first Mario could fit in the size of a text document. It's not very big. You
could put all these games in their entirety on there. I think what was it? Smash Brothers Melee, or no, not Melee. Smash Brothers Brawl had the full games in there as demos and included on the game for Wii.
That's right, because they wanted you to you had a timed amount of.
Yeah, you had a timer, but you could still play the games of all the characters that were in there. Well, I mean, most of them. I don't think you had Fire Emblem on there. Speaking of games that I'm not going to play probably at all, Fairy Tail 2. That's an anime. I think I've watched a couple episodes actually of Fairy Tail, the anime, just when I was trying to find something to watch. It was fine. I mean, I'm sure we have listeners that'll play it, but I don't know. It looks cool, but I don't really know anything about the show or really care about any of the characters. But it looks fine, I guess. It's a Koei Tecmo game. They at first I thought it was like a Muso thing, just kind of from the way it looked. But I really don't. But it's a turn-based RPG thing. I don't know. I don't know anything about that. But one game that I will play, if we can move on from there, is Fantasian. You can finally play it not on your iPhone, and I'm excited about
So that. I don't know for sure. Is this the original Fantasian, or is this a sequel to it?
No, I thought this was the original Apple Arcade one, is what I...
Okay.
I think so, because they were saying that this was
the original version's not called Neo Dimension or whatever, but maybe that's just the name for the special edition.
Yeah, I thought it was just special edition because I read it, or I saw whatever the title of an article talking about the creator and how he was planning on this being his last game, and he was sad.
I mean,
that it was only stuck on iPhone because he didn't think as many people would play it. The Hironobu Sakaguchi was wanting it to me on more things. This is the same version. It's an enhanced version called Fantasian Neo Dimension for Switch. It's the same game. It's enhanced because it's not on your phone, I guess, or you can use a controller.
My last iPhone, I played this for a little while, the original version, and I liked, but then I just fell off. So I would probably be more likely to play it all the way through on a console.
I never played it. I had Apple Arcade. I downloaded it, never touched it. But I'll play it.
It's pretty old school.
Yeah, I'll play it on here. I mean, Nobuo Uematsu, Sakaguchi. I'm in. Let's do it. Does that one have a release date?
It just says holiday of 2024. So.
Okay, so this year.
Something to something to beef up the holiday releases.
Release it in November with all the other ones. This next one was kind of a random thing. I didn't expect this. How about another sport for Nintendo Switch Sports? Remember that game?
When's the last time they had something added to that?
It was the golf. They added golf, but that was a few years ago. I thought.
There's no way I would have thought. Oh, they're going to add this to there.
Basketball, the game that I never liked on Wii Sports Resort, the fucking basketball game where you can shoot.
Was that one also half court?
I don't remember. I played it like once.
Is this like a half court basketball game?
And I was like, I don't like this game. And
it's like half court. So it's like, I think you have to do the 1-on or the 21 or 1-on-1 stuff where you check it out and stuff.
There's some, they said there'd be online multiplayer that you could play people online. And I was watching it and I was like, man, that game looks really boring and slow. It's like, what if basketball was like baseball? Let's just make it really boring and slow. That's kind of what I gathered from the online stuff. Because you're not really you're not like dribbling and checking people. I think you're just.
I don't really like the lanky Mii's.
I think
it's like the little squat Mii's.
I mean, I don't like the way the Mii's look in this game, like period. But yeah, if you look at I'm watching the 2-on-2 stuff here. It looks like you're just alternating taking shots. Like you're not actually like moving and trying to steal the ball from each other. You're kind of just going back and forth trying to make baskets. It just, I don't know, it looks kind of boring. But hey, let's breathe some life into Nintendo Sports DLC breathe some light into Switch Sports with basketball, I guess.
Just such an odd thing that maybe should have come out a long time ago, but hey, at least it's free.
Yeah, John's comment was looking forward to play this once and then never again. So, I mean, it's free. Yeah, we'll all try it once, right? And be like, okay, never playing that again. The next one, actually, I thought looked like something John would be really into. The Mio Memories in Orbit. It looks like a cinematic side scroller, right? Isn't that what they call it? You look like you're like this spider thing moving around. Like the art looks really cool on it. That's actually kind of felt like something that should have been in an indie direct or something, but it still looks like the art of it looks really cool.
Yeah, it reminded me of something like Inside or like those kind of games. I still haven't played Cocoon, but it still just kind of feels like there's this whole genre that those developers sort of, maybe they didn't spawn, but they popularized. But I mean, it's really dark. Like
the backgrounds look like hand drawn too. Well,
yeah,
they're like cell shaded, but they look like they're giving their idea of hand drawn. But it looks really good. Like I really like the way it looks. I like the art style a lot. And yeah, it's like the spider legs or whatever, are like your hair, and you can like move quicker with it, like up walls and across surfaces or whatever. So it definitely, I definitely noticed it. And I was like, oh, wow, that looks really cool. But it's not coming out this year. I think I saw that in the notes, too, from John about, like, it's saying, this is the game that Nintendo's played with us many times, where it's like, here are the games for the rest of the year, and then over half of the games are for next year. It's not exactly what they say. They do that. They do the whole magician sleight of hand, whatever. But Mio, Memories in Orbit, coming out next year, not this year. And then this was sort of like a sizzle reel after this, where it's like, how about some cartoon games? It's like Disney Illusion Island DLC, free today. I'm like, okay, yeah, that was a game that came out that I didn't play. That's coming out today. Hello Kitty Island Adventure. We may or may not have heard about that behind closed doors from Summer Game Fest. That was kind of a secret one.
Which is like
that no one was allowed to talk about until the direct. So I saw a big gush of websites talking about Hello Kitty as well because they played it at Summer Game Fest.
It's kind of like Animal Crossing and a Brood Factory, right? Sort of kind of has those vibes.
Kind of, I guess. Yeah. I mean, if you like the designs of the, the designs of the Sanrio characters and all that, they look like the way they're supposed to look. I thought this one was going to come out sooner too, but that's slated for next year as well. So, Hello Kitty.
But it's a timed console exclusive.
Yeah, got to wait on you for 2025. And actually, I got texts from Joe and Shake when right after the direct happened about it, and Shake was like, "This is definitely letting us know that Switch 2 is coming out much later than people think. Like it's not going to be out at the beginning of the year." And I agree with that as well.
I'd say like after the fiscal year, at least.
I mean, I can read, whatever. He's a friend of the show. I'll read what he texted me. Shake said, the direct was perfect in my opinion. While everything wasn't for me, there's been more than enough that was. Mario and Luigi looks amazing. The Zelda game looks like Tears of the Kingdom, but in 2D isometric. Marvel vs. Capcom collection, Metroid Prime 4. The Switch is without a doubt Nintendo's best console ever. I worry that Switch 2 may not release first quarter next year because of this lineup. And I was like, well, yeah. That's,
I think it's going to be
feel the same way. It's good. It's going to get delayed a little bit more because we got a lot of stuff for 2020.
It's either going to be like summer or next holiday season.
I guess summer did have some spoilers in there. But Looney Tunes Wacky World of Sports. This was kind of a weird one. I've seen some people reference. Wasn't there a Super Nintendo game that was kind of like this? where you played basketball with the Looney Tunes characters? Did you ever play
I think
that?
so.
Yeah. People are like, hey, it's the
It
sequel
sounds
to this
familiar.
game. Yeah.
I will say I've never seen the Looney Tunes characters look more like realistic in a 3D video game than they do here. Like not realistic, like oh Taz, I can see is like real time beard growth, but like it looks like Taz. It looks like what I would have thought of Taz if I ever encountered him in the wild in 3 dimensions. Like
I thought it
it's
looked pretty
cool.
good. I thought that the design of the characters looked good and all that. And I thought
I agree.
I mean, I thought the basketball could be fun. It kind of looked like NBA Jam with Looney Tunes characters. There's soccer in there too. I don't know. I thought this one might be something John would be into. I mean, but I thought it. As far as the way everybody looks, they look pretty cool. I mean, it's not like something
I think
I'm
it's the
gonna run
best
out and
looking
buy
Looney Tune
or buy on the
characters in
day,
3D that I've ever seen.
But it looks cool.
Like I just want to play this game just so I could be Taz.
I want to be Taz too, but I want him to be in AEW Fight Forever because I like him. He's a wrestler, obviously, but he's an announcer now. But he still should have been in the game. He was an ECW guy. But Among Us DLC, yeah, that was what leaked.
Who cares?
That was what leaked the direct. Like I said, I don't play that game anymore. I don't care.
I mean AOC, like
Does she
Well,
still
tell
does
us
she
all
still play
about
it? She's still streaming it?
I don't know. I don't know. I just know like the last time I played Among Us, AOC was playing it. So that should tell you how
It was a
long
long time. Wasn't it like 2020 or something? I feel like it was like
Yeah.
pandemic when we played it. But I mean, you can do new stuff. I mean, there's stuff you can do in there. The last time I played Among Us was the Among Us DLC and Vampire Survivors. That's the last thing that I played, which was fun enough for what it is because you got new weapons and shit. For Magia, this one kind of
Just another one of these games. It's like it could be really cool, but it's got such a weird name and like it's just kind of tucked in here among everything else.
I can't.
Among Us.
I can't remember what it was. I did a review of it on Nintendo World Report. It kind of reminds me of that weird zombie game that I played because you can record because you can you can like grow your animals like from the ground in this, like a farmer in this game, and then train them to kill or whatever, which is kind of an interesting mechanic. But you could do that in this zombie game that I played. You could grow zombies from the ground and use them as your weapons or whatever. And it kind of reminds me of that weird zombie game that I reviewed.
You grow animals like crops or like
yeah, you do. Well, I mean,
NPCs as crops.
yeah, in this one you do, but in that one you could as well. You could grow zombies as crops also, and use them as weapons against people. And that's kind of how this is too. But it's more RPG. That one was more action. But I did like that game for the most part. I think I don't know. That was the last review I wrote for them. But,
I would like to if this game did well, but it's reminded me of another game that I really thought was cool, and I already forgot the name. But it was another farming game that came out last year that seemed really cool, and everybody forgot about it. It was like I can't remember what it was. You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
What was it?
It was another farming game that was really popular. Well, Harvestella. There we go.
Oh yeah, I have that.
This reminds me of Harvestella, in the sense that
I bought it because it was
in
on
the sense
sale
for me
like
personally, where I'm
$20.
like, this seems like an awesome game and it's going to be fun, but it's got a weird ass name and no one's going to remember it. And it's going to just get lost in the sands of time.
It was called Deadcraft. That was what it was called. It was called Deadcraft, and it was a top-down action RPG-ish game, but you could grow zombies as your army, and you could use them to kill people. I mean, it was pretty interesting for what it was, but there were I don't know. I gave it a 7.5 out of 10.
I'd say Graveyard Keeper was kind of like that too.
Yeah. But it was
I played a little bit of.
You could do. There were different because you had your like water meter, but you could also drink like zombie blood, which could make you sick. But you could also do other shit with it, and you could grow zombies with the zombie blood, and that also was mixed into the to how you would water the crops and whatnot while you're trying to grow your zombies. I thought it had some decent stuff to it, even though some of the grinding for like ingredients and stuff I thought was really annoying. But
See, I'm a sucker for farming in games, but when it's like the whole point of the game, you're really gonna have to like pull me in because, like, I like farming as an element, but not as the whole game. And watch me play Stardew. I'll just farm constantly, but
yeah.
I love that game because I can do other stuff if I want to.
I mean, for Magia, however you pronounce it, that plus Mario and Luigi plus the other thing in November, that would be a really packed November for RPG stuff. But speaking of something that's not in November and a thing that I definitely don't need to buy for the third time, here it is. Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, coming out January 16th of 2025.
Which I did actually get a bingo for, because I said
you got a
Donkey
spot
Kong
for it?
announcement.
I did too, because I listened to the Donkey Kong Country Retronauts episode on my drive down, and I was like, you know what? I really like that episode, and I like Donkey Kong. So let's put a spot down for Donkey Kong, because he deserved his time. But I do kind of feel like throwing Donkey Kong Country Returns out again. I mean, I love that game. I beat it twice. I beat it on Wii and 3DS.
It seems a little
I
cheap.
bought it twice, but also I'm going to buy it again, and it's probably going to be $60.
I have it on Wii U, yeah.
No. Well, I mean, yeah, you could have bought it on Wii U also on Virtual Console. Did I? No, I didn't buy it on there. Actually, I might have bought it through. This would be my fourth time buying it, because I think I do have it on Wii U also. But yeah, I really like this game. I bought it on Wii when it was new for $50. I bought it on. I bought it as a Nintendo Classic, whatever you call it, for 3DS, for $20, and I played through it on 3DS also. It was great because I didn't have to shake the controller to play it, but you did have to blow on it to do the dandelion stuff, which is kind of annoying. But I mean, I played through it twice. I love that game, and I'm pretty sure I got it on. I think I got it on Wii U also. Oh yeah, because maybe I don't have the Wii disc anymore. Regardless, I got this game too many times. It's awesome. If you haven't played it and you don't have access to it on any of those things, sure, get it again. If they sell it for $60, I do think that's a little unfair, because it's been released in so many different versions. And sure, it's in HD now. Yes, it's a great game. The soundtrack is awesome. It's fun to play. But I mean, $60, like, come on, guys. Like, this is how many generations before? I don't know. Yeah. That's what I think about that. But, this next one...
I got a mark for this next one.
I got a mark for it, too. Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake. And we got to see Yuji Horii on there, and that really... I like that a lot, because he's the last one of the trilogy of Dragon Quest people still alive. And I'm on a Dragon Quest group on Facebook, and, of course, everybody was, like, so happy to see him there and being like, oh, my God, keep him pure, like, let it, keep him alive, do whatever you can. Like, there he is. There's Yuji Horii. He's so adorable. And, Yuji Horii was there talking about Dragon Quest III, the legendary Dragon Quest III. And the rumor was true. There is going to be a full trilogy. 1 and 2 will come out next year. But Dragon Quest III is coming out a week after Mario and Luigi. But I am a little bummed that the game is coming out for $60. I'm going to get it, obviously, because I love Dragon Quest III, but I still think it seems a little high for a remake of an NES game.
And I don't think it's a very long
HD
game.
2D for a full $60. I kind of thought it was going to be a $30 release. I really did.
I don't know what they're going to add to it. Are they going to add stuff?
Well, I mean, there was a point with one of the Dragon Quest Directs where he said that he was going to change the story possibly, and it might be different from the original version. But
I did think it was really cool that Yuji Horii was like, play this one first. Obviously, that's the way they're releasing stuff. But he's like, this is the one that establishes everything, and then
here's
play
the start.
1 and 2 afterwards.
This is a prequel, so do this and then do the other two. So that's cool, And we talked about, hopefully 1 and 2 are packed together for $60, because who wants to get 2 for $60? Even one for
it seemed that way.
Even one for $60.
When they reveal it, they reveal it
like
as 1 and 2. But they revealed 1 and 2 as one logo, so it makes me think it's going to be one package.
I don't know. Yeah, 1 and 2 is $60. Seems like, I'm like, come on. Like, I love these games, but come on, it seems like it's just too much. And also, this could be some of the last of Akira Toriyama's work that we're going to see in this. So, kind of feel like you have to get it. But also, Dragon Quest III is considered by many to be one of the best RPGs of all time. Definitely, if you look at any Japanese lists on the top whatever of RPGs ever, it's going to be like in the top 3, if not the first one. So, I mean, this one is highly regarded by many people. Not to mention, it was the first game that introduced classes. It was before Final Fantasy and all that. And of course, we know the legends of everybody taking off work to play Dragon Quest III and all that. And yeah, it's an excellent game. I played through it on Game Boy Color, and that version's really, really good too. So it's a badass game. So it's going to be great, and hopefully people get and play it. It's coming out the week after Mario and Luigi. So, hooray!
Well, I think it's a good spot for a break.
We'll take a break there before my favorite game in this. No, that's not. All right, we'll take a break, and then we'll be back to talk about the rest of the Direct.
Hey, you.
It's me, Mario.
Yeah, you. Subscribe to our Patreon to hear our bonus shows, which happen every month.
I'm tired.
Tired of all the big corporate podcasts spoon-feeding you the same old video game news on every single show?
Spaghetti. Ravioli.
Then expand!
With NintenDomain Expansion Pack.
It's us talking about old games that were important to us. It's us interviewing people that we meet at conventions. And heck, it's live shows from those same conventions. It's basically everything you could want that NintenDomain ever made.
Here we go!
And it's just $1 a month.
That's less than a bad indie on the eShop.
It's $12 a year, which is less than Nintendo Switch Online.
Thank you so much for subscribing to our Patreon and supporting NintenDomain.
Just go to patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast and hey, Mario, let go. Whoa! He's throwing us back to the show.
So long, Bowser.
Patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast.
Game over.
The reason I took a break, well, I wanted to make sure I was like here in full presence. No, this game, like, I can't even believe it's finally happening. I've been dreaming about this game for years. They're finally taking the Funko characters and putting them together in a game.
Oh yeah,
We've never seen this before. We've never seen toys from different like genres, different franchises all interacting together in one game.
We're back from the break. Funko Fusion. We actually get to see footage of that game, and I don't really care for Funkos at all. But there's stuff in there. There's some things. Back to the Future's in there. Some other shit that I recognize. Maybe it's hard to tell because all Funkos look the same with dead eyes. But I mean, yeah, they're in there. I mean, I could see this being really fun for somebody who likes Funko. I guess.
Oh?
I know we have a listener that likes Funko that I know of. Who else?
So here's the thing I was thinking about after this rolled up, and a later thingy just kind of confirmed it to me within the direct. But I was like, I just had this thought all of a sudden. I'm like, it's kind of funny. Like when we were really young kids, we had our little toys we were playing with, and like that was our whole world. That was our imagination. We had our toys like doing our like adventures for us. And then once we started playing video games, we would start thinking about our toys when we were playing video games, or we'd start thinking about video games when we were playing with our toys. Those things started to interact with each other. So you start to think, man, I really wish like my toys could be a video game, but but you want it to be like the way you imagined it. You want it to be like they were like cartoons, or they were like real life characters, and like that was sort of the dream of like your toys becoming reality. But like somewhere along the line, because graphics and stuff, we were like, no, we want our toys to be ultra realistically depicted as the main characters. And that is like all over this direct. It is all over the place. That's kind of where we are as a society.
There's some
we want our animated plastic toys to be the main characters in our games.
I mean, it makes with the popularity of Funkos, like I said, I don't really like them. I don't like the way they designed. I feel like they take anything that's good of any character they're designed around and basically take any of their personality out and make them all look the same and give them these weird black dead eyes. But there's a lot of stuff in this. There's some prizes in there, like Shaun of the Dead. There's a fucking Shaun of the Dead level in this game. Shaun of the Dead.
I totally
Funkos.
I totally saw Shaun. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, and He-Man? There's a fucking He-Man game in here. Like, there's like no He-Man games ever. So it's kind of like, what the fuck? And yeah, like I said earlier, like the Back to the Future stuff. There's like Rugrats or something in there also. Like, there's a bunch of shit. There's a bunch of weird shit that's in this game. Oh, and Jaws. There's like a Jaws part where you can shoot the shark with a shotgun.
I mean, Jaws is like straight up like the opening of when they reveal it.
Yeah, Jaws is in there, but then it goes to He-Man, but then it goes to Marty McFly from Back to the Future, and it's just like all over the fucking place. Yeah, and it's got I thought that was Rugrats, Reptar, or whatever. I don't know. And then you see like Orko and Man at Arms and all these other people in here, and it's like, what the fuck is going on? And yeah, and the Shaun of the Dead. You see the Shaun of the Dead.
I'm interested.
People.
I am interested because obviously, like, these things were licensed to make the figures, but how did it work with the game? How are they going to interact?
And you got like Jurassic
Park
going
to be considered canon. Yeah,
there's like a T-Rex. There's like a T-Rex in there, but there's fucking Battlestar Galactica in there too. It's like it's very like all over the place with these like games that are in here. I don't know. It's kind of like I don't know if you remember like Lego Dimensions. Like that was the thing that happened where.
I mean, that's what I was referring to.
Lego Dimensions had like Ghostbusters in it, like Ghostbusters Legos, and I know a lot of people were really into that, like having those as playable characters. But it's like, I don't know, they're going places in this game. They're definitely going places with a bunch of different things that I was. Just
will at
like,
least
I don't
read
know.
somebody's impressions of it.
Yeah,
I will do that much.
I mean, I'll definitely watch a review of it, and it's right around the corner. It's in the month of your wedding. It's a few days, or like a couple weeks before.
Oh shit! I'm gonna have to delay the wedding actually because I need to like platinum this.
John's got major like I hate Funko vibes on this on the notes here.
Right.
Funko Fusion genre bad, description unnecessary, pre-order don't, price too much, demo why it sucks. and also he has a comment that says stupid on Funko Fusion. I don't know. Seeing it, I mean,
don't
know. Like I said,
I think for me that my worst part about Funkos
and
like
fucking
not just their
Chucky's in there.
aesthetic.
Child's Play Chucky's in there too. I'm like, I'm looking at this and I'm like, what the hell is happening in this game? Like, I want to know how like Battlestar Galactica and Shaun of the Dead and Chucky and Marty McFly, how they all work into the story here. I'm kind of a little interested as to how they're going to pull it all together.
I can't lie.
Because oh yeah, and we got Jurassic Park in there too. You got the fucking T-Rex like running around. I think
they specifically say Jurassic World in the demo.
I think Bryce Dallas Howard is in there. I think there's a Funko of her also from the new Jurassic, which we've seen. Jess and I, we actually watched all of them. But they're you can find them on streaming. You can watch them.
No, I have not.
I'd say don't bother, but you can. I don't know. It was like, hey, let's watch them. I was like, sure. I've only seen the first one. Why not? I think Sam Neill is in the sixth one, so that's cool. I mean, he's in like three of them. The ones that he's in is good, I think, because I like him. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that game's kind of all over the place, and makes me.
So one thing I wanted to say about Funkos and what, and I think John's kind of communicated this as well, maybe not in so few words, but the thing I hate the most about Funkos is how they took up retail space in game stores. They just dominated retail space, and they became so ubiquitous that like I couldn't even go to like a mom and pop game shop without like, I'm probably exaggerating, but seemingly like 20% of the store being Funko Pop displays. And
Yeah.
it's just like I get it. They have to bring people in, and they want, and it served as a great bridge between all types of media and like comics and video games. So I get it. But by the same token, I am super duper interested in this game just because what the fuck batshit story is this gonna be? This isn't like, I don't know. This is like Twisted Metal to like Legos, like Lego Batman or whatever. I don't know where they like.
Or like like a Lego game, but also like a Muso game, like Hyrule Warriors, where it's like all these people from the different Zelda games are all together.
That's
but
true,
It doesn't
yeah.
make, but it doesn't make any sense, like that sort of thing. It's like, you want to play it as Tingle? Cool, here he is. Let's play as Tingle. But why? I don't know. Because there's a big bad somewhere. Go kill him.
It's just a different version of Mario being the Mario being the ref and Punch Out or something. It's
Sure.
just like, let's just cross-platform everything.
The other day, yesterday, I went to a used toy place, just because I'm staying where we're shooting, so I just want to get off set. I just wanted to have go somewhere so I could feel like I can be free or whatever. And I went to this place called Cosmic Collectibles. Actually, it was like an old gym that was turned into a toy store, so there was a bunch of shit all over the place. And they have one section that's blocked off. Well, not blocked off. They just have a whole nother. When you walk in, there's like all the main stuff, and then there's a side room that's like just Funkos. Well, they said Funkos and anime toys, but I went in there and it's like 99.9% Funkos and maybe a couple anime toys. But it's like I walk through there and I'm just looking around. I'm like, oh my god, there are just so many fucking Funko toys. But I like that they separated them from like the main toy store. Like we have the regular toys over here. The Funko shit is on the side here. All the real weirdos can go over here. If anybody else wants to just look for Star Wars toys or whatever, you can go to the other side. That's where I was. But I did find some cool shit there, which maybe I'll show at a different time. I didn't take it in. I left it in my car. But I did find some cool toys that I hadn't seen elsewhere. They had some
I'm surprised this is the first Funko game as far as I know. Maybe there's some mobile shit or something, but I am shocked.
Yeah. The thing with Funko, and
This didn't happen sooner.
and like I said, like they have like Fantastic Four Funkos, but I don't think any of them look cool. Like they kind of take away the design of the character that I enjoy. Like the Thing looks dumb. He just looks like every other Funko Pop, but he has orange skin. It's like, okay, you're taking away the stuff I like about him. But yeah, enough about Funko Fusion. This was an easy one. Hopefully this one was on your bingo card. It sure was on mine, and that's Luigi's Mansion 2.
It was not.
It wasn't on yours? That was a shoe-in. They're obviously going to talk about that one. It's coming out at the end of the month. They didn't really bring a whole. I mean, I didn't see anything new to it. It just is more of Dark Moon. And
I mean, this was essentially like quote unquote a sizzle reel of like some sort of like games that were similar, like phonetic genres or something, because it was all about S's. I remember.
Yeah, they're kind of no. I mean, this one, the next couple things are not like scary games or anything. They're different.
It's like spooky and something, but it's all like S words.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about, because it's like, yeah, it says something like
spooky and silly,
spooky and something and strategy, because it ends with strategy. Anyway, yeah, more Luigi's Mansion 2 stuff. I'm actually kind of, I don't know, I'm on the fence on that one, just because I just haven't. Money hasn't been great for me, so I was like, I probably won't get Luigi's Mansion 2 unless I get some extra days on something. Because Luigi's Mansion 2 and Banana Rumble are like coming out a couple days apart, and I'm like, I already have Luigi's Mansion 2 on 3DS, and there doesn't really seem like there's a whole lot of new stuff for the Switch one. So I'm probably just going to get the Monkey Ball game and, wait on Luigi's Mansion 2. As much as I really like those games, but I've already played that game, and I already beat it on the 3DS. So there's that.
You beat it some Halloween season, I remember.
I beat it. Yeah, I mean, I beat it whenever I got it. Around whenever I got it. I don't know. I beat it a long time ago. It was some years ago, but I did have fun with it. The new Denpa Men. Do you remember this game? This has actually been released on previous consoles. It's come out before. I think it was on. It might have even been on Wii, but I think it was on Wii and 3DS. The Denpa Men.
The character designs were super familiar, but I don't remember the game.
Oh, yeah. I've never played it. I've never really cared about it, but I know that it exists, and I know that it's been on other games. It was originally an augmented reality game for 3DS. So it's kind of weird for it to show up on Switch because there's no cameras, so you can't do any augmented reality stuff with this. But it
started on 3DS as AR.
It started on 3DS as an AR game, yeah. Released in 2012. So it's been around for a while.
I thought the 3DS. Oh yeah, 2011. That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, Denpa. The original Denpa game came out in Japan February 8th, 2012, and North America September 27th. A couple of days away from your wedding, but in 2012. So there you go. No, I remember.
But 12 years before.
I remember hearing about it and seeing stuff about it, but it never really like, I don't know. It didn't really make me feel like I needed to check it out, or I just recognized it. I was like, oh yeah, Denpa, man. I remember seeing that on 3DS, and now it's on here. I don't know. Any thoughts on it? They look like little Mii's, I guess, sort of with weird heads.
It's another one of those games where I'm like, if I hear enough about it, I'll give it a try, but it's not something that jumps out at me, you know.
Well, I mean,
it's quirky, it's fun, it's very Japanese. Like, I'll probably like it, but who knows if I'll have time.
I was going to say the fun part about it is it's free. You don't have to pay anything for it, so you could at least try it just for fun, just for funsies. You know, I'm sure I'll try it out, just see what it's like. It's coming out on the 22nd, and the 22nd of July, and it's a time console exclusive. So hooray!
It'll probably be like 120 degrees. What else are we gonna do?
Yeah, I mean it's already like 90 something here. It's been pretty humid. It's pretty humid in Oklahoma. I'm sure you know, you've been here. It's been real not great outside.
I was just there a few months ago.
Yeah. Metal Slug Attack Reloaded. That's the Metal Slug strategy game that I've heard. They mentioned on Axel Bloodcat a couple times. I'd heard about it.
So you don't like tower defense games?
I know, and it said tower defense right in there.
They said tower defense.
They did,
yeah. They were like, this is a tower defense game.
So. I'm like, yep.
I think it looks
there's the genre
amazing.
I don't care about.
I think it looks great and amazing. So like, it might be worth a try if it's not truly like turn-based strategy and it's more like, you know, upgrading your units for the waves or whatever. I might play it then.
I'm curious.
I like tower defense.
I'm curious. I'm curious about it just because I do like the Metal Slug games, like the regular ones. I did buy the Metal Slug collection for Wii way back when that came out. I played that, and I played through all of them that were on there when they were doing the SNK collections and all that. And I think they're cool in that way. And I was always kind of intrigued by this. But yeah, when they said tower defense, I was like, ooh, you know. But it came out on the day of the direct, and it's $10. It's cheap. I mean, I'll have to watch some reviews, and I probably still won't get it. But yeah, when I saw that,
if nothing else, it looks amazing.
But I thought,
like the individual units, like doing all their stuff, like in those really cool animations that you always get from the treasure games, like it looks amazing.
Yeah, I thought maybe, and then they said tower defense, and I'm like, oh no, I don't like that. I don't like that. That's not my. I don't know.
I was tugging my collar in case you can't see that.
Yeah, I just found it. I don't know. I always just found tower defense more annoying than fun. But this other one, I really, really liked the first one.
Except for Star Fox Guard.
Oh, yeah. Star Fox Guard was fun, I guess. It's for a point. I mean, I only played for so long, but it was fun. Darkest Dungeon 2. I was kind of hesitant on this one because, Kat Bailey didn't like it, and she loved the first one. And I love the first one, too.
I haven't played the first one, I don't think.
I absolutely love Darkest Dungeon 1. I thought it was amazing, but it's also really, really hard. And there was only so many times I could have my entire party wiped out before I had to give up on it. But I fucking loved it when I got it. Like, I even made a little, I made a little video on YouTube that you can find where I was like, here's the best Halloween games to play right now on Switch. And it's in there because I was like championing the fuck out of that game. Because
You're Dark Dungeon pilled.
It was great. Yeah, I mean, I loved the design of it. I loved like the way it had like turn-based battles, but they were kind of hard. But you had to, and your characters could like lose their minds inside of in the dungeons. Like, and there were all these cool things where like the classes would react to each other. Like you could have like a demon class and like a religious class or whatever, and they wouldn't get along because of their beliefs or whatever. They had all this really really cool shit in it that like works well for an RPG. And there was like different things you had to do to like, you know, like make them feel better after the dungeon. You know, maybe they're into like maybe they want to go to a whorehouse. You could send them to a whorehouse after you're done with the dungeon.
So this is a roguelike, right?
There were different things you would do to try to keep your characters sane because they would get to like a certain point where they couldn't come back. Yeah, I mean it's a roguelike to where all the levels are randomly generated, but they're all 2D, and it actually kind of it plays sort of like a D&D game would. Like it has a map where you would go like if you're doing like the grid-based D&D stuff of the old time and all that.
Well, it sounds a bit like Slay the Spire to me, or like some other games like that where you're kind of going from point to point on the map and sort of like buffing yourself in between.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah. The thing is, I mean, like I said, I guess the big thing was it was really hard when it came out, but I liked that about it. I liked that it was so difficult. And the developers, I guess they updated it later and kind of nerfed it. And apparently, from what I heard, Darkest Dungeon 2 is kind of incredibly nerfed, and it doesn't have the difficulty of the original one. But it looks as cool as the original Darkest Dungeon did. So it does kind of intrigue me on it. And it did release on the day of the Direct, and I was like, ooh. But it's like $40, you know. And it looks like the characters look like they did in Darkest Dungeon 1. Like it has that still really cool art style. And all that.
It says 7/15/24 on here, but that's not right.
Oh, I thought it was out. Oh no, it came out I thought it. Oh no, maybe you can only
pre-order it. Today,
maybe you can only preload it. It was.
Yet.
I saw it on the eShop. I thought it came out on the day of the.
No, they didn't really do that with anything besides NSO and that one other game.
The one we just talked about, Metal Gear. Or no, not Metal Gear. Metal Slug. Metal Slug came out on the day.
I think that was the only same day like retail release.
Yeah, and there wasn't a. Also, there wasn't like pre-orders in there because I was looking. I wanted to see if Donkey Kong Country Returns was $60 just out of curiosity, but I could not find a price tag for that anywhere. And I looked around. I looked all over the place, and there was no pre-orders for it. There was also no pre-orders for other stuff, which I was surprised about, which we'll get to. But yeah, I don't know. Darkest Dungeon 2, it looked cool. So then after that.
At some point, I should play the first one.
Darkest Dungeon. Darkest Dungeon 1 was so good. I love that game. It's hard, but it's awesome. Like I really had a lot.
That's okay.
It's really really good. Like Jess liked it too. Like I actually played it, and they watched me play it, and they're like, "Oh, this game's cool." I was like, "Yeah, isn't the art awesome on this?" Yeah. So they were into it for a minute, but I know it's really cool. It's very it's very dark and horror stuff, and it's cool. And the voiceover is really good too. After that, I think we all had this on our list probably, even though you had very specific stuff. But I know John.
I did.
I think John and I both had Nintendo Switch Online. I just put NSO on mine because I was like we're gonna have some NSO thing. I don't know what it is, but it's gonna be something. So you
can just write NSO. You don't have to be redundant.
I made it. I made it pretty vague. Maybe John didn't put it. Yeah, because he only got a couple things. The only thing. The only ones that John got was Luigi's Mansion 2, the Nintendo World Championships, and nothing from EA. Which is like
no, I literally only wrote down.
It's like, who cares about EA? I mean, I don't.
The two things I wrote down for NSO were Turbo Graphics, because that was like the last thing that was on the Wii U, and also I said Neo Geo NSO because that was also one of the last things on the Wii U, and then I also said a new like Battle Royale game on the NSO. So I was wrong 3 different places with the NSO.
Well, what I should have put down, but I still got it. To be more specific, and I kind of forgot about it, but it was an idea I had, was obviously I figured Perfect Dark was going to happen on Nintendo Switch Online because we just saw the new Perfect Dark trailer on the Xbox.
I know, but that was not. I mean, that had nothing to do with Switch.
It didn't, but since there's a big buzz around Perfect Dark, I felt like that meant it was time to release Perfect Dark on the Nintendo Switch 64 app. I
wasn't surprised, to be honest, either.
Yeah.
But I also was like, a bit overwhelmed because I'm like, this is actually a really huge game. Like, it's kind of a huge thing to shadow drop. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we got 4 games. We got 4 games for Nintendo Switch Online, which is pretty cool. We get Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, 4 Swords. You can play that online with your friends.
Which I want to try.
Which sure we could try that sometime.
I've never played this game before, other than when you had it on GameCube, and we played it a little bit.
I mean that's a different game though. The one on Game Boy Advance and the one on GameCube are different. Like they're different stories and they have different. I actually played the Game Boy one with John because we both had the A Link to the Past Game Boy game. So I did play it with a connector between 2 Game Boy Advances at John's apartment when he lived in Wrigleyville. But A Link to the Past, it's already on Super Nintendo, but you can play it on Game Boy Advance if you want to play that version.
Yeah.
But Zero Mission, awesome. Considered by some people to be the best 2D Metroid game. I wouldn't put it.
I disagree.
I wouldn't put it above Super Metroid, but I do think it's really good.
Absolutely not.
But I do think it's very, very good. And if you've never played 1 and you don't want to deal with, I love 1. I think 1 on NES is still a shit ton of fun. But
and I think Super Metroid is the best one, but I'm biased. But
I love. I mean, Super
I
Metroid's
played through this.
Like my favorite game of all time, so I'm pretty biased too. But I love this game. I think Zero Mission is really good.
I played through the whole thing right before Dread came out, so yeah, because you were like beating Metroid games, and I was like,
I didn't
sort of doing my own like sort of thing, and I just beat all I beat was
you beat Fusion.
This one because I beat that as well, but I had never beaten the first Metroid, so for me this was like a great. I mean, it was just a perfect reason to play Metroid. Damn it, Zero Mission.
Zero Mission's good. I got Jess to play this. This is the only one
the physics are a little weird in it, but I think it's supposed to be because it's like the first game. But the physics are strange.
Sure, I like it. If you don't want, like I said, if you don't want to play Metroid NES, which I like a lot, because when Dread was coming out, I think we all kind of did like a speed run or just like I played Metroid 1, 2, and 3. So I did the NES one, the Game Boy one, and the Super Nintendo one.
I played through Super Metroid
and Fusion. I played Fusion also, and then Dread. So
yeah,
but I do. I like the NES one, but I really like Zero Mission. It's been a while since I played Zero Mission, and I always thought it was done really, really well. It's not very long, and you get the first appearance of the Zero suit and all that stuff at the end, where it has that little like.
And it's very fast paced. It's hard. It's really hard. Yeah.
And you know points. What Ridley and Kraid, it's some of the best ways you'll see them. Like their sprites look really, really good. There's some fun little cutscene sprite stuff in it. I'm excited.
I like how they kind of retroactively brought the Super Metroid like statue in there, like as a progress gate, because it was kind of like you had that statue in Super Metroid that had all the different bosses and their eyes would light up.
Oh, I mean,
and on this one, there's like these statues that are like.
I mean,
was that in the original Metroid?
That's in the original game, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, in the original NES game, there's that's where all that came from. The eyes don't blink, but yeah, there's a part that you can't go past until you beat Ridley and Kraid. It's on the very, like when you first start, you go to the right and you go all the way up to the top, and that's where it is. So I still kind of have the map memorized, but no, that's from the very.
I love Zero Mission.
That's from the very first game.
Yeah, so, I think Zero Mission's one of my favorite 2D Metroid games. I would not put it above Super Metroid, but I might put it above Fusion.
I'd probably put it above Fusion.
And then I don't know Dread. I feel like Dread's its own thing because that's like a different kind of game.
For sure. But yeah, I'm happy that Zero Mission is on there. I love Metroid, and I love having another game on there. I guess I had and I think you did too. We both had it on our bingo cards. Just Metroid. I had just Metroid, and you had Metroid.
Same.
Anything. So this one could have counted for either of those. But there's a pretty exciting one that happens later. These two games, the next two games, I was pretty excited about. I mean, this is still. Now we have a new app on our Switch, and it's called Nintendo 64 Mature Version. So that means that we're going to get Conker's Bad Fur Day, probably.
So do you remember like the the Japanese version had that app.
They did it for
the-
GoldenEye. They added it.
They did it for GoldenEye
Yeah.
and Jet Force Gemini.
Oh yeah, because those are teens. So I guess teen rating they consider mature or whatever. So yeah,
So Japan already had 2 games on the mature app, but we just got it added
for
to the US
the games that
version,
are
so it's
actually
like-
mature, the ones that have.
Yeah.
Even though I thought those had teen ratings too. I don't know. Anyway, regardless, if you didn't buy the far superior Night Dive remastered version of Turok Dinosaur Hunter, shame on you. But if you want to get it for free through Nintendo Switch expansion pack, you can now.
I played a very small amount of this, and I was like, I've played this before, and I realized I already owned it.
Yeah, you have the Night Dive version. The Night Dive
Yeah.
version is really good. It has gyroscopic controls. You can aim by moving your controller. It's very good. You can do dual analog. People seem to have forgotten about this because, of course, people can't remember anything on the internet. But if you remember when GoldenEye came out, you could make the game dual analog through a couple things. And of course, if you forgot, this is how you do it. You go into your Switch menu, you switch your sticks, you switch the left and right stick, and you switch Z, L, and ZR, and you're ready to go. And on Perfect Dark, switch it to Control 1.2, and then you have dual analog. Turok, being the superior controlled game, it's already there. The 1.2 is already there.
So all I have to do is use my N64 NSO controller and put it on 1.2.
No, if you want dual analog, you can't do dual analog with the N64 controller. You have to use.
So I can just set it on 1.2. Instead of like, because I remember when because you actually talked me through changing all my controls for GoldenEye.
Okay, so if you remember in GoldenEye, they had the different control schemes. They had names based off of Bond villains or whatever, women that he slept with. I don't remember. Was it 1.2 was solitaire or something like that? But 1.1 was where you moved with the main stick and then you aimed up and down with the C buttons. But 1.2 is where you move with the C buttons and then you aim with the analog stick. That was a control scheme that Turok came with when it came out, and you couldn't change the control scheme.
Oh, cool.
But that control scheme on Turok, that fucking blew my mind. Like, that made me good at first-person shooters, and that was the birth of Trey, and my love for first-person shooters was through Turok 1. Because once I realized that I could run and aim at the same time and strafe and all that, I was like, oh, wait, this is awesome. And then I went back to GoldenEye.
I'll say Time Splitters is the first game that I remember doing that well.
And then I went back to GoldenEye and I switched the controls to the Turok controls, and I was like, oh, hold on. I can be way better at multiplayer now if I play it like this. So that's how I learned to, run and aim with only one analog stick. But now you can do it to where if you set it up like that, where you move the C buttons and you aim with the stick and you just switch them, you can move with the one stick and aim with the other stick if you're using a regular controller. And I played
like left or right-handed mode.
Yeah. I played both the games. I played Turok, of course, because I love Turok, and I played Perfect Dark. I played through like the first level of Turok, and I played through the first level of Perfect Dark, and I played some of the single player challenges also. And if you're doing if you want to do the challenge mode where you do like the single player deathmatch stuff, you actually have to change the controls again on that separately from the regular single player mode. So you have to do it a couple times.
I do love that you could just set a bunch of like easy bots and just like slaughter them.
Well, I mean, those first those first challenge modes, and there's a bunch of them. There's I thought there was 50 of them or something like that. But the very first ones, they are so fucking dumb. Like, they do not try to kill you at all. They just run around and you shoot them and you get 10 kills and you win and you go to the next one. But it just introduces you to the different weapons and different levels. And I had a lot of fun with that when it came out. I was like, I like single player deathmatch is great. Single player deathmatch against bots, awesome. So I had a lot.
I'm making a note that I need to get you to once again tell me how to change the controls.
I can walk you through it, and you can
Perfect Dark, and it was not fun.
Well, you can also you can save it. So if you did this before for GoldenEye, and if you saved it in your menu, you could just pull it up again. I don't know if you saved it as a.
I did save it.
Yeah, because you can save your control settings. There's 4 or 5 spots where you can save it however you want to reconfigure it.
Yeah, I saved it.
And so then you can pull it up from that and you can do it whenever. But what I found interesting, because this Airbnb I'm in has like the worst design ever. None of these rooms have TVs in them, so I haven't been able to play anything on a TV. So I was playing like Perfect Dark and Turok like on my OLED, with those big ass Joy-Cons that I have, which work great. But you have to redo your control style for Joy-Cons separate from the Pro Controller. So if you did a Pro Controller one, that doesn't count for Joy-Cons. You have to do the switch all over again for Joy-Cons, and you have to do it twice because each Joy-Con is its own separate, different version of whatever, of however you want to set up your buttons.
Then you have to change it for like the multiplayer mode or whatever.
Yeah, and in multiplayer mode in Perfect Dark, well, because in Perfect Dark you make a character for yourself, and that's its own separate control style. So you have to change it to 1.2 on that also, which was annoying. But once you get there, it's pretty smooth. I did think that Perfect Dark was a little bit smoother than Turok for the analog. I don't know. Turok was moving in some ways that felt weird to me. That didn't feel like it was right for the movement part. But I still.
And you've played a lot of this game, so you would know.
I played through. I beat Turok. I beat the Night Dive Studios Turok right when it came out.
But you played it through on the N64.
I beat it when it came out. When I bought it when I was 17 or whatever.
So you know if the controls feel off, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think it's just the idea of trying to represent button presses with an analog stick. There's a little bit of movement that's not going to work quite right. Like it's like the diagonals probably won't move exactly the way you think they will, like that sort of thing. That's where it felt kind of weird. And Turok has some very challenging platforming in it, and that was kind of where I was fucking up with the platforming. But I can still go and shoot people in the neck and watch them bleed out and all that. They got all that fun violent stuff in there, and I love Turok. Like I was responding to a bunch of shit on the NVC forums last night when everybody's like, "Oh no, the controls are dumb on Turok." I'm like, swap your sticks, like do this. I commented a bunch of times, like swap your sticks. I was like, or go buy the fucking Night Dive version, because that one was really, I was like, they did a really amazing remaster years ago, which is fun as hell. Buy all three of them. They're awesome. Yeah. I was like, don't be knocking Turok. Turok's a badass game. Like you people are gonna learn. Hopefully people who didn't buy the Night Dive Studios version can at least fucking try out regular Turok on 64 and just remember that was a badass game. I know you all want to talk your shit about how it's like, oh my god, GoldenEye, GoldenEye is so great. I think Turok is a hell of a lot more fun to play than GoldenEye. Like single player, Turok is way ahead of that, in my opinion. I think it's a much better game.
But I still think Perfect Dark is anybody who really wants to dig into this is a
Perfect Dark has
game.
A ton of shit to play too, and it's cool that it's online now because it had a lot of multiplayer shit. Like I was talking about the challenge modes you can do against a computer. Well, you could do that multiplayer also. You could do it with 2 players, 3 players, 4 players. Like there was all these different versions you could play through, and they ran like shit on the 64. Even if you had the expansion pack, if you were doing the challenges, with
which I do
people.
love. If you notice, it says expansion pack detected.
Yeah,
when it's loading.
Well, I was hoping that since because they fixed the frame rates on a lot of these, I was hoping that maybe that shit would run better. So maybe you could do a 4-player challenge mode online and it would run better than it did on the 64. Because they, the fucking 60 FPS for Pilot Wings. Pilot Wings 64 looked gorgeous. They made the frame rate on that look so beautiful. And I don't think it ever ran that well when it came out, but so that's what I was hoping for. But yeah, last night before I went to bed, I played a lot of Turok and Perfect Dark handheld on the OLED, and it was glorious. I had a great time. It's awesome. And you know what's also really, really cool about playing this on the Nintendo Switch Online is, Perfect Dark has all these fucking things that you have to do depending on whatever version you're on, and you might not know how to do a thing, and you say you have to throw a mine at a TV screen or whatever, and you miss it, and it's you failed. Just save, just do the save state before that, and then if you fuck it up, go back and reload it, and you don't have to go through the whole goddamn level again. That was always so annoying on the original game.
You can't rewind in 64.
No,
right?
you can't rewind, but you can save state. But you can save state as you do all the different accomplishments, so you don't have to go all the way back to the beginning of the level again if you want to play it all the way through. It makes it a lot less.
It sounds a lot way more fun to me.
Yeah. But no, Perfect Dark is a lot of fun. I played through the first level, and I'm glad they're both on there. I mean, I'm happy that, like I said, for anybody who didn't get any of the re-releases of Turok, now you can actually play Turok, and hopefully you like it because it's great. I mean, I loved it when it came out. I was really surprised by how good that game was when it came out in 1997 or whatever, when I was 17. It like I said, it changed my world. Oh, an interesting thing. I found this. This is kind of like a sort of an Easter egg or whatever. I haven't seen anybody mention this online, but I found it out just by playing it. You can't save organically in Turok. You know, like how you would go to a save point and you would save in your controller pack. It doesn't work because there is no virtual controller pack for NSO. So if you want to save in Turok, you have to save state. There's no saves that work. They don't exist in the game. So I thought that was kind of an interesting thing that I found because I went to a save point and they're like, it's like no controller pack, and I'm like, I don't know how to. I can't put a controller pack in here. I guess I can't save. So if you're trying to play Turok, you got to save state. Otherwise, you can't save at all.
Save state at those points if you don't know what else to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's save state. Save state whenever you want. But yeah, you can't save like you normally would. I was in a group chat with Joe and Shake about the direct. They both, like I said, they both text me around the same time, and we have a bunch of group chats that we text back and forth about wrestling or whatever. But yeah, they did text me in the group chat, and I'm like, hey, anytime. It sounded like a wrestling promo. I'm like, anytime, any place, I will play you on Perfect Dark. Let's do it. Let's do it one of these weeks, one of these Mondays. Let's do it. It's like anytime, any place, you challenge me, I will be there. I'll be ready to take you down. So I don't know if you remember what was it, counter op mode on Perfect Dark? That was really cool too. Do you remember that where you could play through like a regular level and you played and you got to play as the bad guys, but you would change to a different bad guy every time you got killed? I want to fucking play that online. That's gonna be fun as hell.
They did that on Zombie U a little bit. Like Zombie U is sort of kind of like pulling on that a bit.
Oh well, I mean, I guess I have Zombie U and
But that was a mode in Zombie U where
I tried
you
to play it.
Take over different zombies.
It wasn't. I guess I never played it single. I only played single player. I never played any multiplayer for it. It was.
But I love the counter operative. It's so great.
Like, the counter op was
imagine
really a cool
that
idea.
Online.
Yeah, I was saying
imagine that online where we're just hanging out online, just like
you can do co-op too.
I'm just like, and you're like because you're like really good at the game, and I'm just like the enemy's trying to kill you. That'd be fun.
Yeah, we could do that. I'm down to play Perfect Dark whenever.
And I'm like terrible, so you would probably do really well, and I would just like die a lot.
Yeah, I was happy to see. Obviously, what more could I ask for? Two first-person shooters, two Nintendo 64 first-person shooters in one direct. That's like speaking directly to me because there are so many great first-person shooter games on 64 that I played the crap out of. So. I'm happy to see them on the Switch. I mean, even though I've already played through Turok on the Night Dive version, but I'll play it again because I love that game. Whatever, Turok's awesome. F all of you haters. Turok is great. It's a damn good game. Anybody who doesn't like it, you didn't play it. Anyway, I probably spent too much time on Turok, but I love that. It's that stupid game. But let's see, where are we? What's after that?
Phantom Brave, which is not my cup of tea.
I remember that game. Well, I remember the PlayStation 2 Phantom Brave. I always thought it was a Fire Emblem wannabe, is what I thought of it on the PS2 version. But I never really. I remember that it existed. My old roommate Tim Ryan bought it. I remember watching him play it. That's all that I.
Kind of like you with tower defense. Once I hear the word tactical, I don't.
Turn-based strategy.
Like my brain shuts off. Well, it says the word tactical, like tactical RPG.
Sure, yeah. And this one looks like chibi too. I don't know. There actually is the Phantom Brave PS2 game is actually on Switch already. They did re-release it, and you can get that on there. But now there's another Phantom Brave on there now, so cool, good for you. But we don't need to talk about that anymore. But we do need to talk about, which I'm going to gush about again, is this was my.
Gonna take you for a ride.
This was my holy fuck moment. Was this one where
gonna take you for a ride?
Yeah, because I was listening to it without the music, and I just saw I want to take you for a ride, and I saw Ryu like standing with the silhouette like from.
They actually say that in the
Capcom
direct as well. They say we're about to take you for a ride.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was like, holy shit, because I don't know how many directs back I did make a bingo card that said Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on there because it's been delisted on like all systems and you can't buy it anywhere right now. Well, you can buy it old. You can pay a lot for like a retro version of it, but you can't buy it digitally.
I say One Up
anywhere.
Arcade, you can do it. Yeah.
Well, well, yes, you can buy little arcades or whatever, but I don't want that. I just want a regular game. And this game has like 7 games in it. And I've been listening to the Retronauts fighting game episodes, which are really, really good, where they talk about all the Marvel fighting games and all that. But like I've never played like X-Men Children of the Atom, or like they did release a thing on PlayStation 3, which I played the crap out of, which was called like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 Origins, and it had like Marvel superheroes and Marvel vs. Capcom 1 on it, and that was cool. I played the shit out of that, but that was like it. But there's all these other ones like Children of the Atom. I think X-Men Children of the Atom was the first one, and then there was Street Fighter versus X-Men, and then there was like the superhero one, and then there was all these different ones. And we're getting I think
That'd be a licensing nightmare.
I think. Well, I mean, I was surprised.
The
That,
superheroes keep like switched around a bunch, don't they? By like who owns their shit.
well, I mean, I was actually really surprised because all this shit is owned by Disney now. So it's like what the fuck. So here's what we got. We got X-Men Children of the Atom. We got Marvel superheroes. We have X-Men versus Street Fighter. We have Marvel superheroes versus Street Fighter. We have Marvel vs. Capcom 1. We have Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and we have The Punisher, the arcade game, which I've been wanting to play this game since I was like 13, since I first saw it in an arcade in Bloomington. It's a beat 'em up where you play as the Punisher and Nick Fury, because I guess Nick Fury is the only character that might have a gun too, that wants to shoot people or whatever. But I've been wanting to play this game forever. It was only released on Sega Genesis. It's really expensive. It's like hundreds of dollars if you want to buy the real Sega Genesis version with the box. And I've only played this briefly at Galloping Ghost, but I want to play through it all the way. It's weird that it's a beat 'em up with all these other ones, but the thing is, the Punisher game was also made by Capcom before they did all these other fighting games, so they are all Capcom games. So it all fits in the same.
Was
thing.
it kind of how they like prove their worth by like handling a Marvel license, and they're like, okay, you can make more Marvel games now.
Yeah, from what I heard, one of the main guys who was a big part of all the fighting games, he was a big comic guy, so he got into it and made sure that all the characters looked right, and they all kind of did what they would do in the comics, and they had the stories right and all that sort of thing. But I always really wanted to play this Punisher game, which is kind of, it's pretty violent. Like, it's like a beat 'em up, but you can get guns and shoot people and explode people with whatever, and the Kingpin is the boss, and he's huge, and you fight him and all that, and like the main boss of the game. But I've always wanted to play all the way through. But I put it on but I said, obviously, Shake and Joe, we've done like, we play AEW Fight Forever. That's a fighting game as well. But, this is Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is, I got it for PS3 and I played the shit out of it on that. Well, I have it on Dreamcast. I played the shit out of it on Dreamcast. I have a burned copy that we got from our friend Brian, who owns a Japanese toy store in Chicago now. He gave me a burned copy.
Which is the first time I played it, like not on an arcade. Actually, it's the first time I ever played it. Was that in Louisville that time?
Yeah. This is probably the first time I played it too. But Nakama Toys, that's his place. But yeah, I remember he gave me a burned copy of Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I played it on Dreamcast a bunch. That was actually one of my favorite fighting game memories, was just going through and just earning points to unlock new characters and just go through and just unlocking all the characters. I had a great time with that. And I love that fucking game. There's they said specifically roll back netcode for the online and all that. Like, they're really steering into it. There's going to be a physical version for anybody who cares about that. But I just love that Capcom is doing these like really awesome collections, like these, like, because they already did like their kind of obscure fighting game collection. They did like their beat 'em up collection, and I think there's like 3 of them. Oh yeah, and the 30th anniversary Street Fighter collection, which is really, really good too. So
don't forget, we just got all the Mega Man games on Game Boy.
Oh yeah, and the Game Boy Mega Man games too. But yeah, this one, the Marvel vs. Capcom one was like, that was my. I mean, I loved all this stuff before, but this was kind of like my holy fuck moment. I was like, yes, finally, MVC 2, and you can thank me for making it happen, just because I bought that fancy stickless fight stick, which I'm totally
I saw
totally
at
use
your
on
house.
this. You got to see it in real life. I didn't show it to you.
Demonstrate it.
Yeah, we never actually played.
But it is impressive. I thought the build quality was really nice. Like,
No,
that's all I know.
I think
'cause
it's
I didn't
cool.
play
Well,
it,
I've only used it for Mortal Kombat 1. That's what I played on it with.
it's super solid. The build quality is ultra nice, and it just kind of it's like a keyboard for video games, pretty much.
That's the idea. I heard about it from Eric Van Allen from Axel Blood God. He was really into it. And I was like, oh, that sounds cool. It just seems more precise, like when you're trying to do like a Hadoken or whatever. Like rolling your thumb on a analog or on a control pad isn't as precise as pressing two buttons. Like you're just doing down and forward and doing it, and it feels, I don't know, it kind of blows your mind doing it. Just doing a couple moves like that, and you're like, all right, now you can make. Or when you're doing like the charge back and tap forward stuff, like with M Bison and Gil and all that, or Guile, whatever.
I mean, that's the way the original game's controlled, so
yeah,
that's good.
I mean, but when you're tapping in and not, because when you're holding like a joystick, you might not exactly hit it like straight left or straight right. You might be like up or down. You might miss it. But if you're tapping the button, it's more precise. Especially if you're doing like the down up moves. Like the Chun-Li's upside down thing, or like the stand on your head Bison thing. There's a lot of stuff that makes more sense for that controller than a regular fighting stick. But yeah, no, I'm really excited I will play all of these games on Switch, and maybe I'll play online and get my ass kicked. But I'm sure we're all going to do a stream of it with Joe and Shake and all them, because those games are awesome. And yeah, I love Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and I can't wait to play the other ones, like the X-Men and the Street Fighter and all those other ones, because I know there were some pretty random X-Men characters that were in there for that first one. But I was like, fuck yeah, finally, let's get a fucking Marvel vs. Capcom collection, and it has all these games in here, and I'm just like, yeah, just give that shit to me right now. Let's just do it. It's gonna be fun as fuck. So, and I don't care.
Put it in your veins.
As I said, put it in my veins, like the Simpsons joke. But I was like, and if this one's $60, I don't give a shit. There's 7 games in here. I'm gonna play the crap out of these. They're gonna,
It's like $8 a game.
I don't give a shit. Yeah, you can make it. It'll probably. I'm guessing it's gonna be $50. I'm fine with that. That's totally worth it. Like there's
$7.
There's a shit ton of replay value in this. There's a lot of really, really good games in here. So let's fucking do it. Yeah, and I was kind of pissed there wasn't a release date for it. It says 2024. Just 2024. I'm like, come on, give me a fucking date. Like, release it now. Let's get it. So I was excited about that. And see, what else do we have? Oh my God, there's still more stuff for me to be excited about. After that is the sequel to Super Mario Party, not the
which I actually want this one.
Oh, I want it too. Well, I mean, Super Mario Party 1 was good. I mean, they finally added online to it, but I'm getting, I was gonna say, I'm the reason that these games still exist, right? Because I'm the only person that keeps buying every Mario Party game that comes out. But I love these games. They're fun. They're
It's
great,
supposed to be the
largest
collection of games, and because I know there was a Mario Party 100 on the 3DS, so it was like,
that's true. There was this Mario
you gotta
Party
do
100.
better than that. I think this one has like 130, or I can't remember. It wasn't a whole lot more.
I think it was one. I thought it was 110 or 120. I think is what they said. But
so it's not a whole lot more than the top 100. But
the top 100 only has one board though. Like this is what.
Okay.
I mean, sure, there's a bunch of mini games, but there's only one game board, and this one has 7 game boards, and I think that's probably the most that any Mario Party game has ever had. Normally, you only have 4 or 5.
Aren't 2 of them from like previous games?
Yeah, so there's 5 new ones, and there's 2 from Mario Party 1 and 2. But these boards were not in Superstars. These are ones that were not included in the Mario Party that just came out. So these are retro courses, but they have not been re-released yet in the other game. So that's cool. So it's like having 7. But I like the new, like there's a racetrack one. That's awesome. I love racing games where you can roll like 4 dice at once and you can go really fast around like the track. That's cool.
I thought it was odd. They definitely have like a battle royale game in here. It's
there's a 20. There's
like 16.
There's a 20 player. There's a 20 player online mode, and if they're following. I mean, I don't know if they specifically said that you could do random online, but you can on Superstars, so I don't know why you wouldn't be able to do it on this. But yeah, they said, 20-person online mode where you go through where you can do all the different mini games and all that. I'm excited about it.
But you're actually racing as well. You're racing a car.
Yeah, in the racetrack level.
Okay, so I was like,
but not
seeing,
not
like,
for the not for the 20-person one. I think the 20-person
Okay.
one you just do
I'm confused.
you just do the mini games.
Okay.
But regardless, I'm in. We actually, Super Mario Party was pretty damn good. The original one. I've had this conversation with Jess before about Super Mario Party versus Mario Party Superstars. Because Super Mario Party, I thought that the games were more interesting, the mini games, and we both agreed on this. The mini games were more interesting, but the boards were not. They were limited. But
Yeah.
these boards look bigger, like they look like they have more depth to them. So maybe if we take a little bit of Super Mario Party 1 and a little bit of Superstars, we put it in this game, maybe we have a really, really good Mario Party game. So that's what
We also
I think.
got that random like update to make it online and stuff. So it's like,
Oh yeah, way after the fact for that one.
so like I bought the game like on eBay for like $15 or $20 or whatever. So like I own it. That's why I own it, because of the update. So having online play is so crucial to the future of Mario Party.
It's 110 mini games, so it's got 10 more than the top 100. But the top 100 is also, these are all games from previous Mario Parties, and this is 110 new mini games. Even though some of them might be similar to ones from previous Mario Parties, but they claim to be brand new ones. So there you go. But no, I really like the way that I really like the way the racetrack looked, and I like Goomba Lagoon too. John put something in the notes about it being not impressed with it because it wasn't Woohoo Island. But you know what? Woohoo Island didn't have a volcano that shot gold Goombas out of it. So fuck Woohoo Island is what I think about that.
Well, that's great that John said that, because that was also something I wanted to say. It was like, is this finally, are we back to Woohoo Island? Did we like speak it into existence from our last like Patreon episode?
No, it's Goomba Lagoon, but it shoots gold Goombas out of it. All right, so there it is. So this is what here's the 5 regular levels that we have. We have Mega Wiggler's Tree Party, which looks cool because there's a giant Wiggler on the board walking around. It's way bigger than the normal Wigglers. We got King Bowser's Keep, which is all it's got magma all over the place, lava, whatnot. Roll'em Raceway, that's the racing one. Goomba Lagoon, that's the island one. But we also have Rainbow Galleria, which looks like a mall, and there's like escalators you can go up and down in the way. Oh yeah, and there's sales too. There's specific flash sales for the stars where you can get more for cheaper and all that. So I like strategies worked into the board games and whatnot. So, and you have those 5, and you also have the levels from Mario Party 1 and 2. You have Western Land and Mario's Rainbow Castle. I think Mario's Rainbow Castle was the first level that you played in Mario Party 1. And Western Land, of course, is the one where you play as cowboys in Mario Party 2. And I'm sure there's probably going to be one unlockable board, is what I'm guessing. Just one. Just one unlockable board, and that's it. Because almost every Mario Party has one unlockable board in it. I don't know how you'll get it, but I'm pretty sure it's in there somewhere. But yeah, I'm on board for that one. No pun intended. But yeah, it looks like it's got a lot of shit on it, and it's going to be fun. And yeah, it's got,
I'm all about it, because like
player.
I wish I would love to do more multiplayer stuff, like, and Shauna would be all about this game, so we could do like multiplayer from the same console, hopefully.
And it's going back to controlling with the Joy-Cons like the original Super Mario Party.
Yep.
So that means a lot more motion stuff. But I did like a lot of the mini games in that first Super Mario Party, and I like that there's a 20-person battle royale thing too. So there'll be stuff to do if you can't necessarily get 3 people to come together and play it or whatever. But yeah, October 17th.
I feel like
October 17th. You'll be married by that time. But yeah, it's like banger after banger after banger here. So yeah,
this next one will come out 2 days before I'm married. So
after
by the time I'm married, probably not.
After Super Mario Party Jamboree, this one was like a total what the fuck one. I mean, I saw there was a rumor that there'd be a Zelda thing in there, and I was really hoping that it wasn't going to be Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, because, let's have a new thing. And boy, howdy, do we get
I just hoped it would be because I would get 2 bingo marks.
Sure. But we did get a new
Also, Wind Waker on the Switch would be amazing.
But you know what's more amazing? Playing as the Princess Zelda. Finally in a Zelda game. How long did it
They're flipping Nintendo's flipping the tables, literally.
Oh, there's tables in it too. I made a joke in the notes where I was like, And I didn't see anybody else say this. It's like, Princess Zelda can summon tables. Is she a professional wrestler now? Because tables come out of nowhere and that all the time. And in so many matches, it's like all of a sudden there's a table. Where'd it come from? Nobody knows. It's just put somebody through
I saw a lot of beams where people were getting like slammed into like tables and chairs by Zelda.
I saw a lot of the mostly the Simpsons meme with Bart putting the chair through Homer in the bathtub. Like I saw a lot of those.
Yeah. But not only is Nintendo flipping the tea table for that, but they're actually making Zelda the protagonist, and
she's like a summoner now. She's almost like
they're doing crafting in their own way.
She's like a Pokemon
it's really interesting
master.
because like
she can throw fucking monsters at people.
But didn't you feel like so they do this whole like overworld shot that's very reminiscent of Breath of the Wild, and Tears of the Kingdom kind of does the same thing. It looked like Minecraft. I'm not gonna lie. It looked like Minecraft, or it looked like Dragon Quest Builders. Like
it did.
Not to say it was bad. That's not bad, but it just like kind of takes away from the epicness of it. I'm like, okay, so Zelda's gonna go do some crafting over there, probably. I don't know. It kind of seems like they were like, Zelda's going to be a badass, but we're not going to actually give her a weapon. She's going to like make furniture and then fight with that. It's kind of like Peach's emotions, but like Zelda's like interior design aesthetic. That's going to be her fighting. She's a woman and she knows how to design furniture.
Yeah, right. It's I mean, I was I texted my wife and I said like, hey, there was a Nintendo Direct and I think there's some things in here that you might want to see. And then I called them later and I was like, hey, did you watch any of it? I was like, did you see that Legend of Zelda? And they're like, oh yeah, I've been waiting my entire life for Zelda to be the fucking playable character in a Zelda game. So I was saying it means a lot to a lot of people for this game.
I think it means a lot. And all I'm doing is like, I'm just trying to like cast shade just because it's funny, because Zelda's been kind of sort of playable in multiple games, but always been sort of like truncated in a sense. Like either they were like playing a dual role, like an Ocarina of Time, which you didn't play as them, but they were like helpful in the final battle and stuff. Or like you think about like Spirit Tracks where they're dead.
I'll say, well, don't forget about Spirit Tracks. And that was we did record that podcast with Mike. I didn't make it all the way through, but I got really damn close. I was like one dungeon away from the end.
I just think it's kind of bullshit that Zelda finally gets her own game, and it's like, you don't get a sword. Even though we know you can fight with weapons. No, you're going to make furniture, and you're going to fight with furniture.
Yeah. I was just going to say in Spirit Tracks, she's with you the whole time, and I think that's really cool that you are actually. She is your buddy, and she's got a lot of cool lines. But yeah, no, it is kind of weird. It is kind of a weird thing where it's like, yeah, you can
very explicitly
can make furniture, but you're also like a Beastmaster. Don't forget, you can capture creatures and throw them at people. You're basically a fucking you're a fucking Pokemon master here, which I think is cool.
I mean, it obviously reuses the Link's Awakening engine, which we all kind of sort of knew was going to happen at some point.
Well, sure. I like that art style.
We thought it'd be the Oracle games, but it's a brand new game, so that's fucking cool. And it's Zelda's game, and so all I'm doing is just like casting a little shade, a little aspersion on.
She's a summoner.
Fact, yes, Zelda finally got her game, but like, we absolutely know she could handle a weapon. Like, why can't Zelda handle a weapon?
She got a staff.
She can summon a chair and throw it. Or she could summon a rock and throw it. Like, so she's ultimately like,
she's a wrestler. Like great. I said, she summons chairs and tables and puts people through that. I mean, what was it? There was that one guy, I forget his name, but he won a fucking Emmy or whatever, and he said he won an Emmy, and on his speech he said, "Bring the tables," and then he showed up to AEW like the next week. And they beat the shit out of him and stole his Emmy. And his Emmy became a prop on wrestling for weeks. So, that's awesome. It's just kind of funny that he said, bring the tables. And we were watching it. And Jess was like, what does that mean? I was like, oh, I think it might be a wrestling thing. And then he showed up like the week after on AEW. He wanted to wrestle. But, whatever. That's what I thought of, like tables and chairs and whatever. I know about all that stuff. But no, I think it looks awesome. It's coming out on the 26th.
I'm all about it. Like all the aspersions I'm casting, like, are just because, I do consider myself a feminist, and I'm a bit disappointed, but I may be proven wrong. I'm gonna give it what it deserves, which is a full playthrough.
Oh, I'm gonna.
And
Yeah,
I'm probably gonna love it. But in the meantime, I'm just kind of like, why can't she hold a sword? Like, come on, why'd you have to make such a big point of that? Like,
because I think they want
Zelda doesn't get a sword.
I think
No,
I think it's
does
'cause
Zelda
they
get
wanna,
a sword? No,
They want to make it unique. They want her to have different abilities.
I guess so.
So, I mean, why hold a sword when you can get a fucking Octorok and throw it at somebody? Like, I mean, I think
guess so.
that's kind of cooler than hitting somebody with a sword. Like, why do that when you can fucking take a whiz robe and throw it at somebody? Like, that's fucking rad. I don't know. I'm very excited to play.
It
this
is
game.
rad, and it's going to be an amazing game. So, if it's not, then hold me back.
I'd say, but maybe it's not so rad as the Switch Lite version of we're getting a Switch Lite. We didn't even say the name of it. The Echoes of Wisdom, because Zelda has the Wisdom Triforce.
So I did say in conversation in the Slack, I was like, it seems kind of strange they're releasing a new Switch Lite now. Like, maybe this game was supposed to come out a while ago, but either way, I still consider it to be a true win that we're getting 3 original Zelda games on one console. Like, that's
Oh yeah. Well,
unheard of.
they're releasing a Switch Lite to push the amount of Switches sold over the PlayStation 2 amount. Because I think this is like the last effort push. It's like, well, what if we did another Legend of Zelda Switch Lite? And you can't pre-order it anywhere. I was just looking around, to see what it was going to cost or whatever now. Because Switch Lites are like $200 now or something like that. I don't need one. I don't want a Switch Lite because I'm afraid of a Joy-Con.
Well, they were
drift and all that.
$200 at retail, so I think they're about $170 now. I want to say retail.
I mean, you can get them. You can get used ones for almost $100.
Yeah.
but also you have to deal with the possibility that the Joy-Cons are fucked or they're going to be fucked
drift,
soon or whatever. That I mean, I don't. I couldn't in good faith buy a Switch Lite because of that, because I'm afraid of the Joy-Cons going. But I was just curious as to how much it was. But it was never. There's nowhere to pre-order it as far as when we're recording this right now. Like, you cannot pre-order it anywhere. So I thought that was kind of interesting because it's a few months away. It's right there, and it's like, hey, come on. We should try to. I don't know how long we've been going for, but we should try to blow through whatever's. I mean, at least before.
Well, the next one's
big one.
going to take a while to talk about. So
Just
I don't know how we're going to do.
Just Dance 2025. I feel kind of dumb for not putting that on my bingo card because I feel like it's in like every direct. Did anybody know there's a Just Dance 2025 edition coming out in 2024? So,
but that's enough
there it
about
is.
that. So the next one was like basically it was rumored, and then I think it showed up.
No, it was it was announced fully. Are you talking about the Lego Horizon?
Yeah,
yeah, that's another game. I don't care. I'm not playing this game.
Well, I'm going back to my point I made earlier in the conversation, which is like, it's kind of so strange that we're in this era right now where we want our toys to be like one-to-one represented in our games. And it's like the Hot Wheels games, the Lego games, and now the Funko games, and even Legend of Zelda. Like, that's all like toy based. Like, if you look at all the trailers, like,
It looks
you're just
very
looking at
like
little like
toyetic.
plastic figures walking around. Yeah. And I'm fine with the aesthetic, but I do question, why are we here in society? Why is this such a commonly used aesthetic nowadays? Like, why, like in Fortnite, are they're fully articulated like Transformer figures? It's because that's what we always wanted, and now they're there.
Fortnite's got a
But
lot of
just
shit.
in,
Got
like,
a lot of
shitty
shit. Got a
games.
lot of shit in there. Like they got those airbenders. Like you can do all sorts. You can like fly now in Fortnite. I guess you could before with the Dragon Ball stuff, but
Yep.
But you can't. But the airbending stuff is actually a whole nother level when they did. And then they had the Greek gods after that. Like I don't play it, but I mean, I have friends that do. But Stray.
I don't give enough shit about it. Oh, sorry, we're moving on.
But anyway, yeah, we got to keep, because I do have to drive like in a few hours from now. Stray. Yeah, Stray is coming to Switch. I could try this game out now, I guess. I really like Little Kitty Big City. I was fine with that. Didn't need another cat game. And you die in this one, right? You don't die in Little Kitty Big City. I don't know if I can take that your cat will fall.
I
down
didn't
and
play enough
die.
of Stray to get to that point, but the limited amount of time I played, it was like a lot of QTE type. Like you walk to a platform and then you hit a button to do the next thing, and then you go somewhere and then you hit a button and you automatic. You know what I mean? Like it didn't feel. It felt accurate in the sense that the cats are acrobatic wonders, but at the same time, I didn't feel super like satisfied with the platforming, and that's as far as I got.
That's what I've heard. I mean, I heard it from you, but I've also heard it from other people. I mean, I'll try it out. Like I said, I had a great time with Little Kitty Big City, and that was kind of more. I mean, that was more kind of like Untitled Goose Game. Like it's like you're a cat, fuck with people.
Mm-hmm.
Go back, get to your home. That was the idea. You fall out of the window. You fall out of the window of your apartment building, and it's find your way back to your apartment building, but you don't have to go there necessarily. You meet a lot of weird characters on the way. You try to see how where you can jump from like window to window. And the great thing is, if you fuck up, even if you fall down from the highest building, you don't die. It's impossible to die in the game. So it's all just like, let's just fuck around and explore things. And I had a really good time with that one. But I want to try this one out because it got Little Kitty Big City. A lot of people were really into this one. So.
And I actually had this on the PlayStation.
It was
right after I got my
free on
PS5.
there,
It was
yeah.
a free game, and I've had it since then. So over a year now.
I don't
never
think
went back to it.
I don't think I re-upped to my PlayStation Plus in time, because wasn't it like a base
so.
level? Because you only get those like during the month, and if you don't get them, no matter what level.
By the way,
you're
they
on,
just
you
added
don't
Monster
get 'em.
Hunter Rise.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was for this, like in addition with AEW Fight Forever, or are you talking about on the catalog level that you have?
Maybe it's on the catalog level, but yeah.
Yeah.
They just added Rise. I downloaded it. I haven't played it yet, but I have it.
But also, there's no cross save. You got to start from the beginning again.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if you want to. I mean,
Which is really dumb.
I mean, with your, I mean, the way you play games, you might just start it again and put another 100 hours into it.
So I won't even get into the game I've been playing. I've already put like a bunch of hours in, but it has nothing to do with this discussion.
Is it Balatro?
No, it's
Is it?
Slime
Grand Theft Auto?
Hunter 2.
Oh, I don't even know what that is. Yeah, Stray happens. We got to see some footage of Tales of the Shire. I thought that Jess would be really into this because Lord of the Rings X Animal Crossing. Who doesn't want to be a little Hobbit character running around? I mean, I feel like it would be one that we'll probably play in our household.
Yeah, I don't have any interest in this game, but I see the appeal. Like it's very much food-based socialization based.
Food-based socialism.
Kind of.
I mean, I don't know. I like the idea of it. Why not a Lord of the Rings game where you get to live in the Hobbit world? I feel like it's going to do pretty well. I think a lot of people like them Hobbits with their weird giant feet. But moving on from there, this is the one that I got wrong, but right in the same way. Another.
We talked about this earlier.
Yeah, Phoenix Wright. This is the official one in the video. Miles Edgeworth. His adventures are now on. So what? There's like 4 Phoenix Wright or 4 Ace Attorney games on Switch now. There's the Phoenix Wright trilogy, and there's the prequel one, and then there's the sequel one, the Apollo Justice, and then there's this one also. So if you like those games, you got a ton of them on here to play. So
Yep.
do it. Get into it. The next one. So this one is kind of interesting. I wasn't really sure what to think of it at first, but I do kind of feel like maybe I should get it because recent news I just saw. So it's called The 100 Line, The Last Defense Academy. This is made by the Danganronpa guys, and apparently they bankrupted themselves in the creation of this game. So maybe people should buy it because they ran out of dough in the in the development of this game. So it's kind of like, it seems like
So
kind of
maybe it'll bring him back.
their last hurrah here. Yeah, like apparently they've gone, well, maybe not fully bankrupted themselves, but they've gone into debt in the development of this game.
Well, it looks like it's your favorite genre. So it should be cool.
Is it tower defense? Oh no.
Mhm.
No, I mean it's I don't know. I have Danganronpa 1, and I did like it, what I played of it, but I didn't play that much of it. I don't know. I like the way the characters look. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I really, it was kind of, I watched it, and this is a 2025 game, so who knows what's happening that year. But I was like, I watched all of it, and I was just kind of like, I have no idea what's happening in this game. But it looks, the characters look cool, whatever. And then after that, what we all wanted, the second remaster of Romancing Saga 2. I actually have Romancing Saga 2 already. The first whatever remake re-release, the one that has the original Super Famicom graphics. I have that game. I bought it in 2017 when the Switch was released. It came out that long ago, and now we have a full-on polygonal version of it. I don't understand these games. They're hard. There's permadeath death in it. They're kind of confusing, but a lot of people really like them, and people really like Romancing Saga 2. So
I remember the Romancing Saga names being in my Game Genie book.
well, it was
For my
what was
Super
it?
Nintendo,
It was called Final Fantasy Legend on Game Boy. Was Saga, right?
Okay.
Or was it? It was either Final Fantasy Legend or Adventure. It's either or because Final Fantasy Legend and Adventure on Game Boy were either Secret of Mana or Saga. They were those games. They weren't actually Final Fantasy games. They just called them that because they didn't think anybody would buy a Secret of Mana or a Mana game or a Saga game. So they just put that other name on there. But you can buy the collections of both of those on Switch, and there's a ton of Saga games on there. Apparently, people really like them. They've done, there's retronauts about them, whatever. I think it looks great. I was gung ho for it when they re-released the Super Famicom version, and I played it. I streamed it. You can find it on my YouTube somewhere. But I was real confused on what the game is. I had no idea what was going on. So that's how I feel about that. But let's skip to the best thing in the whole thing. Metroid Prime 4. It exists. It's real. We got to see Metroid
7
Prime
years
4.
later.
Yeah.
7 years after the fact.
Yeah. Well, I was I texted the Spirit Tracks group from from the Games My Mom Found podcast that we did, and I was like, hey, congrats everybody. We did it. We made it. We made it happen because we talked about Metroid Prime 4 during the Spirit Tracks podcast that we'd already recorded, and that's how we made it happen in the Nintendo Switch Direct.
Thank you for your service.
So thanks to the 4 other people that were on there, whatever. Okay, what was it? Weird. I don't know why they were talking about Silk Song, and I was like, what about Metroid Prime 4? And then it happened. Metroid Prime 4 happened. And let me tell you, I'm so tired of people saying that this game is not a Switch game and that it's a Switch 2 game. This is a Switch game. There's been videos out. What was it? They've already done breakdowns saying this is running on Switch hardware. It says it in that. And also, have some fucking faith. Retro Studios has not made a Switch game, and when they made Metroid Prime 1 for GameCube way back when, that was ahead of what we had for that time, for that generation of games. And we haven't seen what they can do for the Switch. This is a fucking Switch game. Sure, maybe they'll put it on Switch 2 whenever that happens, but this is running on Switch. This reminds me of Tears of the Kingdom all over again when that came out, and they're like, that can't run on Switch. And then it did, and then it came out, and
I really think
400 hours later, here we are,
The fact that they switched out developers makes me think Nintendo was intimately involved in this. It's got to run right, I think that is a strong argument in your defense that it's definitely on Switch.
Like I'm saying, Retro Studios did amazing things with the GameCube and the Wii. I still think that Metroid Prime
and the
1
64.
Retro Studios didn't do any 64 stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm confusing them with Rare.
Oh no, well, Rare, left at 64. No, Retro Studios, Metroid Prime 1, I still think is one of the best looking games on the GameCube, period. And
it's the best looking game on the GameCube besides maybe Wind Waker.
More or less, or like F-Zero GX or something like that, because F-Zero GX still looks really good. But I'm just saying it still looks really, really good. Metroid Prime 3 still looks really, really good for Wii. I'm just saying they've always been able to do really, really good things with the software, and the only thing we've seen from them is Metroid Prime 1, and I've seen videos breaking down the trailer that we see of Metroid Prime 4 and saying like, oh, well, you don't think this will happen? Well, here's where it happens in Metroid Prime 1, which already exists on Switch. They've already it's doing the same things. It just has, it just has different. And what was it? Was it Digital Foundry? Are they the ones who do the breakdowns? They already did a breakdown saying like, no, all of this can run on Switch hardware, and it is running on Switch hardware. Shut the fuck up, people. It's a Switch fucking game. I just wish it was coming out this year, but it's coming out in 2025. Like when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, Metroid Prime is real. And fucking Silex from fucking Metroid Prime Hunters is the main bad guy.
Hunters, yeah.
Did you remember him? When I saw that guy, I was like, oh,
I never got that far, but
I know you.
But I've read enough since this drop to be like, oh no, that's the guy from Hunters. Like it's not some mystery villain like we. He was
in 3 also. He made an appearance in Corruption on Wii as well.
I say Corruption, like they made appearances, but like you basically were on your own after that first part.
Yeah. But I mean, we played enough Hunters online that you probably saw him as a playable character. But when I saw that fucking line down the middle, I was like, oh, I know that fucker. But aside from, I mean, I did kind of expect a little bit more from what it showed, but I'm just happy it exists and we saw something. And it looks really sleek. It looks great. You can see how Samus kind of has the redesign that you see in Dread. Like her outfit kind of looks more like that, where Blaster's like a little bit skinnier, and like her body looks more like the more newer Samus designs and all that. And
well, the ship looks like a Samus helmet. So
that ship wasn't that the same ship that was in? It was in Zero Mission, right? And it's been in some of the. It might have been in. No, I think 3 was the old one. I don't know. Anyway, you've seen that ship before. I know it's either in Zero Mission or Fusion. I've 100% seen it in other Metroid games.
Zero Mission.
So yeah, there's that, and cool. Samus is there. You can still scan shit. There was some cool. I thought there were some cool moments where you could see like the reflection of Silex on the face and all that. So
I'm excited. It looks like more of the same, but like in the best possible way. So that's what we wanted out of Metroid Prime. We didn't want something new necessarily. We just want it to be a better version of what we love already. We got that remake.
We just wanted a sequel
last year.
Yeah, I just want. I want 2 and 3. I'm surprised that 2 and 3 weren't included in this. Since we have 4. I mean, because we're.
I imagine
they'll
be released as the Media Blitz expands, or whatever.
But I mean, Metroid is my favorite.
I think
is my favorite Nintendo franchise. So
there's no way, without a doubt, this wasn't the biggest news of the whole Direct. And they saved it for last. They did the right thing. I can't think of anything that was more earth-shattering than this.
I mean, when I was
seeing footage of it,
when I was watching the Direct, I was like, "This Direct is so good," and I'm like, what if they ended it with Metroid Prime 4? I was like, if they ended with Metroid Prime 4, it's going to be like one of the best Directs I've ever seen. And then it was like, and then it said Space Hunters, Space Station 220X9 or whatever, and I was like, holy fuck, there it is. I'm like, it's right there, and it's happening. And
even I couldn't accept it at first. I was like, maybe this is a remake or something. Like maybe this is like a port of something else or like whatever. But yeah, I think this was an amazing Nintendo Direct. I think that anybody who had any sort of doubt that the Switch is running out of life was proven wrong.
Wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. And Nintendo's just easily had the best presentation out of all the ones I watched this year. So Nintendo continues to win in this sort of thing. And, they save their heavy artillery for June, I guess, every year. We're fine with that. We love it. But let's see what happens this fall. I'm really interested in this whole potential cross-generation thing that might happen with especially Metroid, but potentially with like other games as well.
Oh, I'm sure there's going to be some upgrades or whatever, like, get a Switch 2 version of it. But if you want to release Metroid Prime 4, I think you need it for the Switch with the install base that it has right now. Like, if you want to sell copies of Metroid Prime 4, release it for Switch 1, not 2, because
It's not a system
already.
seller.
Yeah, exactly. Or a ton of people have it already, and whatever you're going to sell it to people that already own it. So that's. I mean, and I'm.
I am 100% in agreement with you that it's not exclusively next gen. I think it's a Switch release. I think it'll shine on the OLED especially.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have 2025. Yeah, I really wish it was this year. Like that was the bummer thing about it. I'm like, oh man, I really wish it was this year.
But you kind of went through all the Japanese direct stuff earlier, so I think we're probably good.
I was gonna say we're about. Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, if anything, I'm not going through like the entire list. I could say, because I said I think I said Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble, which was on my bingo card. That was on the Japanese direct. That would mean I would have a bingo if we count that. So that I did get a bingo for the Super Monkey Ball one. Gundam Breaker 4 was also on my bingo card. That was on the Japanese direct as well, as I figured it would. There was like one thing that I hadn't seen yet. Butto Bird is like an online dog fighting flying thing. It's available now on Switch on Japanese. I actually want to try it out because I thought it looked cool. I didn't get to look at how much it was or whatever, but I wanted to see. I was like, oh, that looks fun. We got to see One Piece Odyssey run on Switch. I don't think I've seen that yet. Like, that was on the Japanese direct. I thought it looked real good. It actually looked like the PS4 version or PS5 4 version or whatever. Eggy Party kind of looks like whatever that game is with the weird controls. I don't know. Like the party game. What was the one called? Do you remember it? You had it on a different system that wasn't Switch.
Fall Guys.
Fall Guys. Kind of looks like Fall Guys. We get to see Shim, the one where you jump into the shadows. I really like that one. That's got a July 18th release, so cool. There was one main one here. John didn't put it on there, but I added it. Where'd it go? Raynatis, Rynatis. It's an action RPG made by the same people who made Ease. That looks really, really cool. I've been looking at this one for a while, and it was on the Japanese direct, and it's coming out at the end of July. So cool. It probably won't be out in English until next year or something, but it looks awesome. It looks like an Ease type game, but it's more in the future, more futuristic Neo stuff or whatever. And I think that's good. I think that's good for that. I really liked it. I think we can call it now because I think it's.
I say let's call it. You may have gotten a bingo, but you tend to be more like far-reaching. So I think you always deserve a bingo.
We never decided like if we any sort of like prizes we would get for bingos or whatever. But I mean, I know Jess got one out of all of us. I think they're the only ones that actually got a bingo once. But this one, counting, I think you should count Japanese stuff too. I think counting Japanese, I did get a bingo on there. But aside from that, it was a really great direct, and I hope you enjoyed me gushing about it. And if you want to hear us talk about more stuff, go to patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast. We did do an episode about summer and water games. Hopefully have it up, an edited version of it up next week at some point. And also WRT Radio following that. So if you're on the $1, $5 level, you can hear that. And you can also see videos of us early after we record or whatever. And that sort of thing. On patreon.com as well. And go to twitch.tv/NintenDomain podcast and watch our weekly wrestling streams or whatever. Our last one we did was Star Wars Hunters. And I missed this week because I was driving. But next week, maybe we'll do some Perfect Dark stuff or something. Who knows? But, yeah, check all that out. And you can find me on Twitter at Nintendo_domain. And Jeremy sometimes when you're offering Waluigi songs at JMaxStack. or you can find the show at NintenDomain on Blue Sky also, and you can find us on Facebook, NintenDomain community page or whatever, on there. But we've been your hosts. I'm Trey Johnson,
Jeremy Mikowski,
and thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Direct to you. See ya.
Direct.